And I can't stop thinking about you, but what you gonna do? And you know I'm feeling good like that, so what you gonna do? And I can't stop thinking about you, but what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? You're just another one hit wonder, that's what everyone sees. Ain't it funny how you wanna be the best, but you can't even get up and get dressed? Wasted, face it, you're never gonna make it. Rockstar, you won't get far. And I know you're confused. People tell you you can be anything you wanna be. Wanna go to outer space, superhero in the streets. Oh man, what a lie, what a time to be alive. How have I survived? Life's a battlefield, 1974. just wanna be alone. I don't need your company, stop blowing up my phone. You don't get the things that I've been through, and I don't have the time to lay it all in front of you. And you think that you wanna save me. You don't know it, baby, why you do this? I got this under control. You think you do, but you really don't know that I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. No, I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. I'll save Baby, I just wanna be alone. I don't need your company, stop blowing up my phone. You don't get the things that I've been through, and I don't have the time to lay it all in front of you. And you think that you wanna save me. You don't know it, baby, why you do this? I got this under control. You think you do, but you really don't know that I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. No, I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. No, I don't need a savior. You can't be my savior. I'll save myself. I'll save myself. I stand back and I watch you explore in perfect visions like I've been here before. Falling faster, I try to ignore. I see you, I see you. I'll let you drag me to hell if you hold my hand. Tell me this is real and it will never This is not what I came here to find. Memories show that I'm out of time. See a shadow, don't know if it's mine, but I see you, I see you, I see you, I see
Way too many faces in the crowd, but I think that I see you. One too many days got me changing up the way that I need you. Now we're both at a bar, acting like it's not hard, trying to feel something different. Talk to somebody new, kinda wish it was you, kinda numb to the feeling. Now that you're gone, they say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months and I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to. I can't seem to. Now that you're gone, laying on my floor, thinking about all the things that we've been through. From 24/7 to pretending like I never met you. No, it's all for the best, cause I know we're a mess every time we're together. Going out of my mind, and I wish I could lie, tell you that it gets better. Now that you're gone, they say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months where I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to. I can't seem to. I can't seem to. Now that you're gone, they say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months that I can't see.
Happy Friday, everybody. We are back on the NECC, and we've got some seriously good Overwatch games under our belt tonight. Jobin and Ray guiding you guys through what honestly should be a very, very good evening. We've got 4 schools. 3 of them are ranked on OWCRA as of 2 days ago, as far as the rankings came out. So we've got some absolute world-class matchups.
Yeah, I'm part of the committee who helps rank them. I'm very excited to see how these teams look to punch up. Our first game is going to be the number 2 seeded Northwood University going up against the number 10 NC State. And I will say, NC State previously was higher up. I believe they were like 6th or 7th before, but they took a devastating loss to Arcadia in this past cycle. So I'm really curious to see how they come back from that and how it's going to go punching up pretty high all the way up to our second most ranked team. As you can see, the rosters below with Northwood, you know, we recognize a lot of these names: Haven, Rocket, Icy, Painkiller, Lep. And they have their full roster back from, you know, the Korea boot camp. So no more shenanigans because they had a couple of sketchy weeks because of all that.
I was going to say, yeah, both schools are 2-1, and Northwood's one loss was the first game of the year, and it wasn't their traditional starting 5, so to speak. They were obviously tied up in other business, and worthwhile so, but NC State Red, as you said, they just took a big loss to Arcadia. They plummeted down the rankings. This is a very good game where you can get back in the server, take down, you know, if not the top team, because Winthrop is currently sitting in the gold medal spot, but you can literally take down one of the 2 best 3 teams in all of North American Collegiate, and you can really, really show people and the rankings that you're going to be a fighter down the line.
Yeah, NC State, if they can pull off this upset, I think it'll be the catalyst for the committee to push them up kind of back to where they were before, maybe even higher, given, you know, the firepower and number 2 rank that this team has behind them. We do know where we're going to be starting out, and we do have a new map pool which aligns with the new season of Face It Season 8. First map is going to be Li Zhang Tower.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. We can cycle the map pool, we can change things around, but there's a few maps that seemingly always find their way into the map one slot. It's comfort, it's classic. Every single team kind of has an idea what to expect. We do have a few new heroes in the pool that have been very slightly tuned down in the last couple of updates as expected. When you release a new batch of heroes like that, they're going to be on 100 on turbo mode for a while, but they've gotten very tiny scale backs, nothing really that substantial, but little damage here and there. Cooldowns got adjusted, so should be very fun. I don't know if we're going to see exactly how much new flavor, especially on a map like Lijiang, but I know if I'm Northwood or NC State, being at 2-2 through 4 games is not what we were looking to do to start our season.
Couldn't agree with you more, especially, I mean, NC State obviously number 10. You could not, a lot of good teams, this Division 1, a lot of good teams are here. So at least it might be a little bit more understandable if you're, NC State. Maybe you were playing a bunch of the higher seeded teams and those 2 losses. It makes sense. Northwood, the number 2 seed. The first loss was, at least we get it. A lot of your players were at the Korean boot camp. We understand. But taking a loss here would not be good for them going forward. So I expect them to be the heavy favorites in this matchup. It's going to be on NC State Red to prove us wrong and, show that that Arcadia loss was definitely a fluke and they have the ability to punch up here. As we can see the bans below for NC State Red, getting rid of that Emery who got a little bit of a tune-up with his damage coming in, which he's still not like the hard pick, you must pick him, but he's been seeing a lot more play since then. And then classic ban on a map like Lijiang Tower. The Zarya, just so good right now, especially with the Vendetta.
Yeah, and I think the Emery gets some popularity too, just because it's easy enough to play. It almost functions like the Soldier in many ways, where it's just aim down sight, shoot. The kit is fairly intuitive and not super complicated. You don't need to combo it with a bunch of other things to really make it work. So it can be very very good picked in isolation, but obviously not here for map 1. Can't go wrong with a Zarya ban on Lijiang. Graviton Surge covers off every single doorway, every single choke point. Can be very annoying to deal with, but that's what I'm excited to see. Are these teams going to try to reach for something new? Because seeing NC State ban away the Emery means they've either got info that Northwood is very good on it, or they had some trouble dealing with it earlier. So we'll see exactly if they've got some kind of counter comp cooked up or exactly how they're going to be going. Want to definitely get back from that win over Arcadia. And I think Arcadia, if I looked correctly, I think they were the team that actually beat Northwood in week 1 as well. So definitely a really good season for them, at least as far as my memory goes.
Yeah. Arcadia's always been one of those teams who, I mean, they're ranked now, but they were always on, like, we ranked 20, and they're always in that group of 4 or 5 teams who are just outside. But again, so far they're having quite a season for them. So very excited for them, but focusing a little bit more in on this matchup. I mean, given that, they got, at least for Northwood, that they got Painkiller. Painkiller loves to play that Ram, loves to play that Orisa. So it wouldn't be too surprising here if we see that. The thing is, like, I have seen, an increase in the amount of Domina as well. I just don't know if we'll see it on control maps. Domina has definitely been a lot better for, like, your hybrids, your escorts, even sometimes Flashpoint.
Yeah, actually, I casted a few Overwatch matches, a lot of King's Row, and people were starting to pick up the Domina and at least try them out in a few new situations where it made a little bit of sense. Haven't really seen them as much in control either, but that's the fun of the last few updates, is that things are just slowly figuring out their niche or figuring out where they're going to be good, where they're optimal, and where they're going to be perfect in certain spots. So the creativity we get to see is very fun. Exactly see, how creative either one of these teams wants to get, especially early in a series. You maybe save a curveball for map 3 or map 4 if things aren't really going your way, and you've got a pocket pick that you've just been sitting on and you're cooking up ready to go. So should be getting underway sooner than later. I know the lobby was at least 9 out of 10 players. I know there was an NC State player maybe in flux, so hopefully it should be getting underway here in 30 seconds or a minute pending.
Yeah. So again, I mean, just talking about, heroes that I would have expected on a map like Lijiang Tower, definitely you would have thought Vendetta. I do think it is still a possibility to see that, but the Zarya just enables her so heavily. You have to be a lot more careful when you don't have those Zarya bubbles at your disposal. You can't be as aggressive and just backline farm as much because you have to get out because they can focus fire you a lot easier with no bubbles. So it wouldn't surprise me possibly if we start getting to, more heavy, possibly like even Maze. Maybe we even get some, we've seen BSC loves the affinity to play the Junker Queen on this map, so maybe you get that. But it feels like Tracer's probably a solid pick that we always see on this map. But I can't wait to see it all unfold.
And the interesting thing too, especially if this does go to like a map 4 or a map 5, just watching the banning process throughout the series is going to be interesting, because if you're an NC State team, you can look at a Northwood, look at the Overwatch roster and say, yeah, we could ban every single one of these zeros against one of these players that have scrimmed, that have worked really hard, that have played professionally. So I think for NC State, it's definitely, I don't want to say more work to try to prep these bans out, because you can only do so much. It's only one ban per map, and then they obviously get released. But be interesting to see exactly if Northwood is able to walk out and maybe they do run the Orisa, the Ramattra, or one of these just extremely brawly tanks that is going to thrive. Does NC State feel baited into like going for a target ban later in the series? Or I wonder if they've got a set process where they're looking, okay, on this map, we're going to try to ban this. But just trying to play against a team like Northwood, you have to be ready to read and react, because things, they can go sideways very quickly if you don't stay locked in.
Yeah, for the side of NC State Red, perfection when it comes to their play is going to be of the utmost importance. I know you're always trying to strive for perfection, but Northwood will pounce and take advantage of any kind of misstep you're going to take. It's going to take a picture perfect performance for them to be able to upset them, and like I mentioned, get them back into the position that they were in before that shocking loss to Arcadia.
Yeah, listen, it happens, right? Every single team at some point, and very rarely do teams go fully undefeated, not dropping games, not dropping maps. And sometimes it's a good wake-up call till you go, okay, listen, maybe we're not as good as we thought we were. Maybe we actually do have to go back and watch some VOD, because you win a couple 3-0s in a row, you beat a couple teams that where the series are competitive, but you showed, okay, we're clearly better. And then you get a haymaker right in the face a couple weeks later. That's like, okay, maybe we do need to get off our high horse a little bit. We got to lock in and reset. And we are finally getting underway. NC State, the delay is through. We get to go over to Lijiang to kick things off. And now we get to quit the yapping and watch some gameplay to see who is better.
As we take a quick look at the composition of these teams, are both lined up, and the Domina for the side of NC State Red, as I mentioned, we continue to see the usage of her rise up. So not surprised on either side there. The Echo is an interesting pick here. A lot of burst damage, that focusing beam. She's been also played a lot more since they got the flight change. But for Northwood, going more of the Diva style, they will have the May as well. So that's one thing you got to be very careful about if your Splice is getting walled off from your team by these May walls.
Yeah, we'll see how the first skirmish goes, the first few sets of fights, and we'll see if NC State is ready to match the mettle of the T-Wolves here as we get underway with map 1 Lijiang, control point 10 seconds away. And I'm definitely excited to see the Domina. We talked about it in the pre-show that it's certainly starting to get a little bit more love, and the only nerf they really got was, I think, a small cooldown nerf to the Panopticon, which is ultimately not the end of the world. I think the barrier may have gotten slightly reduced HP or cooldown too, so the hero hasn't really been touched up too much, and NC State able to use that Tracer Lucio pressure. They're going to find first blood on Rocket.
Yeah, and again, with this Domina, the issue is for the side of Northwood. You can't just sit around and let Splice do what he's doing and just unleash a bunch of damage. You have to be able to apply pressure onto the Domina, because if you don't, they're just going to rain so much damage onto your backline. And we already see Icy struggling a little bit with that, taking so much frontline damage, but the focusing beam from Rocket takes down Splice.
Yeah, the Domina gets caught out trying to go for at least keep Northwood back in the spawn, keep that pressure on as long as they could. But then you've got the DPS from Northwood. There's Haven and Rocket. All you had to do was call their number, flash the bat symbol, and they kill 4 out of the 5 players available. Actually, it was a full team kill for the DPS. Splice the first one to die. So Northwood, a very, very quick counter punch off of no major cooldowns, just Rocket and Haven going crazy.
Yeah, and this Diva Echo composition thrives much better when you already have control of the point and can go for your little mini dives, get a lot of your burst damage down. And the Domina thrives on being set up as well, so it's going to be a lot harder for them to re-engage.
Goodness, Oblivion finds out the hard way that is Rocket's airspace. The Echo dual mirror mode goes the way of the Northwood DPS. Both of the replicators are going to be online, so we've got some potential cool coming through as we do see all the other ultimates slowly but surely building up for everybody in the server. But Northwood, they have now taken the lead off of a big team fight win and then an early pick, but now NECC is going to send in the Kitsune, so NC State looking to close some of this gap and get it onto the point, but Lep's able to find an instant shutdown with the right click, and that means Northwood player advantage, and Lep's going to burn the beat as well.
Yeah, and again, and now in comes the Panopticon onto Rocket. That's a lot of damage. They do get the beat off in time, but Haven goes down.
Then NC State answers with the beat of their own, which means that sustain may just be enough to swing at the second edge of the fight there. Icy will eventually fall, only down to, I believe somebody is in there stalling the point. Yeah, see that red percentage is going up. It's left climbing around on the ceiling. So Northwood 68% in a row. Every single ultimate, or a lot of them at least, burned off. We saw that NC State able to just hold on to that beat drop and use it later in the fight. Ends up swinging it for them, and now they get to control the point yet again, but you've got to be fearful of that DPS from Northwood.
And I'm just realizing now that Painkiller is also on the support, so definitely not the full, full power roster that you're normally expecting, because Painkiller obviously normally switches in and out with Icy for the tank. But Lobby finding Rocket, just continuing to maintain control of this point, because Rocket's kind of been running away with this lobby so far, being basically a lobby admin on this Echo. The duplication does come out for the side of NC State Red, so that's going to be one less tool they have in their bank for this next fight, and finding Lobby already is going to set things off well for NC State, for Northwood.
Yeah, NC State was looking really good. They had to replicate Deadeye, and they had Northwood basically pinned back in the spawn, and then all of a sudden, Diva's able to find the pick, but Haven getting too aggressive with the Deadeye, potentially not able to survive. It's the sub-duo of NC State. Able to just run down the Northwood DPS. Now Icy's going to get stunned up into the wall. Kitsune Rush has been used by Painkiller. So Northwood, with NC State climbing up toward 99% in a possible overtime contest, they've got to try to find a way on, but there's nowhere to go.
Yeah, no, Splice on the Domina going to clean things up. That's 100-68. NC State Red coming into this series, already showing us maybe that Arcadia loss was a fluke, and they are here to try and upset the Northwood University here. But as I mentioned, this definitely is not their full roster, seeing Painkiller on the support right now.
Yeah, always the question with these upper teams is that, right, theoretically every player can play every role pretty well, but to make the full Exodia, you need to make sure everyone's in the right place at the right time. We will see ultimately if map 1 goes terribly for Northwood and they get 100-0 on this round. Maybe we do see a few switches back later on in the series, but you got to make your bed and then lie in it if you are Northwood. So NC State, you played very clean. You're able to shut down the tank DPS duo at the end there, and a couple clean team fights from them. Splice doing a lot of work on the Domino that we were talking about, so lots to be happy about on the NC State side early.
Yeah, I mean, Painkiller is going to do their best. And a lot of these players who play in OWCS are super flexible, but not having CJ or even Vega is going to make things that much tougher for Northwood. But I still think they have a chance to be able to come back and win this. I mean, that first point was pretty close.
And that's the beauty of Northwood, is that even when they're maybe missing 2 or 3 players that are quote-unquote starters, that's an actual deep 8-9 player roster that they would basically be able to take 2 top 5 slots in any LAN, any tournament in college with the players they have constructed under the same banner. So they've got lots of talent, they've got lots of depth, and obviously a lot of the players have played together for a very long time at this point. So NC State still looking good though, gets the first early capture yet again. Splice able to do a lot of space creation, but it looks like they are going to have to give the space up to Northwood, and with Left able to find the shutdown onto Lobby, I'm thinking this is going to be Northwood's flip.
Yeah, they're going to get Haven, but the damage has been done. Both the supports down for the side of NC State Red. Cleanup duty for the side of Northwood, as next fight is going to have to be what you're playing for because of NC State Red. They are coming up very close to Panopticon. Splice is continuing to push that. I think that was a big mistake. Back to the spawn room they go. I just don't think that was a winnable fight, unfortunately. So now Northwood control this point. They're going to have a pulse bomb from Rocket, and getting dangerously close to both of these support ultimates. Just look at NC State Red. Their Kiri Lucio definitely lagging behind in the ult charge.
And I think that last fight was almost a bait for Splice, because they got 3 players to 1 HP, which, fair enough to them, it in their head was like, oh wait, I might be able to completely flip the point and take over. The Northwood supports did come back in time to make sure that play was dead in the water, and now you've got Oblivion. Ulti online in the back pocket, but Lobby's just going to hit it at 100 miles an hour, and Northwood's going to be reeling possibly. They're going to be the first ones to use the beat. Bunka Chunko's going to fall before they can get their beat online, though, so it still looks good for Northwood. Only 2 NC State players left, and Splice has no chance left with no teammates. The Domina may be able to stall out for a few seconds here, but the only result is the gray screen, as Northwood looking much, much better.
Yeah, and all they had to use was a beat there, and they got it for the Kitsune Rush, so that's extremely favorable ult exchange for the side of Northwood. So now they can look to aggressively Kitsune Rush here. And you don't even have the beat online yet for Bunka Junko.
Yeah, that's why I was waiting for the second one to come through in the last fight. I check, it's only at like 72%, so I was like, well, this is basically Northwood's fight for free as long as they click their buttons. The pulse bomb, oh, I thought it might have connected onto lobby there, but able to just slip the net, and the overclock could be online the other way. Icy's going to send the Diva Bomb in Oblivion. Try to take them down there, but the remech will come through with no issue. So Northwood still able to lock down the front line. These ultimates, they're going to have to be invested. NC State's probably going to have to use the B drop to get on point. They're going to send that one early. Left's looking to see if they can take from the skies and find a boot, but they're going to get taken down by Oblivion.
Yeah, and again, this is just Rocket on the Tracer trying to clean up, and that's going to be a refresh from the side of Northwood, winning this, all things considered, in a pretty dominant fashion as they're still just trying to clean things up.
Yeah.
Whoa, I say that.
Yeah, no, it looked like Northwood was going to end the map. You were not wrong there. At NC State Red, they put on the Nikes and they sprinted back over to the site. Northwood should be able to close this one down. It was Oblivion's replicate onto the Diva that made that very, very interesting for the moment, but a 30 kill streak for Icy, and Northwood as a squad, 100-24 in round 2. Looking like they are slightly back in that prime form that we expect to see for now.
Yeah, it definitely seems like they, I mean, with Painkiller on your support, it feels like, Painkiller's doing fine. The Kitsune rushes have been good. The healing is good. As we can see, or has more healing than NECC, who normally plays support. It's going to rely heavily on their DPS going to be able to make plays. And because they don't have their support and they have to have Painkiller on support, going forward through the rest of the series, it's just limiting in the compositions they're able to play because they have to, unless they're going to put Icy on support when they want to play Painkiller on tank, then maybe you got something cooking there. It's just going to depend.
And listen, I think we certainly could see some chefing later from the Northwood side. We'll see how game 1 goes, and then maybe their decisions will be slightly swayed one way or the other. But Rocket, no more Tracer. We're hopping on to the Vendetta. Can certainly be very well utilized in this essentially big Thunderdome-looking room, a big open area where the Vendetta can fly through the sky uninterrupted and really try to get cooking. And as I say that, we're trying to zone off people way off of the map right now. But in the meantime, Haven's the first one to fall. And Northwood just loses 2 players for free, Rocket and Icy. Looks like they tried to go for a cheeky 2-man play on the outside of the map, but they just let the rest of the team fall by the wayside.
Yeah, now they're in a really dangerous position. The Vendetta is going to get out, and the Diva's able to fly out, but that could have been really bad. That's the thing with the composition Northwood's playing, especially when Icy and Rocket are looking to get really aggressive. Haven's kind of a sitting duck, so NC State can look to aggress on top of them. Northwood's going to have to be very wary about that.
Yeah, we play this in mobile carry. We better have some semblance of appeal system at Northwood, but 25% for the NC State side, looking damn good already. And now Splice able to find a flank angle and looking for the 100-0. The cleanse comes through, but it doesn't matter. Painkiller still ends up falling. Way too much damage from the NC State front line. But now everybody's getting zoned off. Northwood able to corral the point. They get a few quick kills. And quick is an understatement. Northwood, even when they lose a player to start the fight, it just feels like the second they find an advantage and get a low health bar, they are going to take everything.
That they are. And again, 0 ult commit from either team. Is Oblivion going to go over to the Vendetta as well now, realizing just the power that this character holds, especially on this control center map. Rocket looked like they were going to go for a flank, but looks to back out as Kitsune Rush gets thrown out by NC State.
Yeah, and Rocket's got to run. They were low on HP, so they're going to have to regroup with the squad. And Northwood, off the back of the Kitsune from NC State, they decide to give a little bit of pressure up on the point, so the capture will flip over to the blue side as NC State looking to see if they can just position themselves a little closer up. But as I say that, Left's putting the beat down, and they are running them down in the back spawn. Northwood was not waiting for the fight to start. They wanted to engage, and the only kill that NC State is able to find is on the back of NECC so far, and that may be the only kill they get. Icy still full HP. The DPS are looking good. They are going to get a late beat drop of their own, though, so they actually get everybody back up and sustained. But even so, Icy's running Bunka down.
Yeah, with the Kitsune Rush coming out, that should seal the deal for Northwood. They just got to clean up a bunch of these kills. But again, NC State Red getting a huge ultimate. I mean, not huge ultimate. Huge percentage on that point, 73% and counting. But Northwood can engage it. They're going to have that Sundering Blade, which, again, that ultimate is absolutely insane. I mean, all NC State is really looking at this point is going to be that high noon. I didn't even realize they used the Panopticon in that fight.
Me neither. There was so much going on, and obviously after the beat drop and the Kitsune from Northwood, there was a lot of colors on the screen, but yeah, that is a massive, massive cooldown that's not going to be available. Northwood's obviously going to have the beat drop first again, but if Splice is able to find solo bolo kills onto Rocket, the fight might be looking a little bit different for the T-Wolves. Deadeye, that's going to get sent all the way through. Lobby able to zone off the entire Northwood squad. And they don't have that much time. Now that NC State's going to essentially be in the 90+%, they've got to get these ultis and they've got to go. Oh, we are going to see the flashbang connect on Rocket and shut down the combo. It's a great play out of the NC State DPS. Icy still has the bomb, and Haven's got the Deadeye, so Northwood's got plenty of tools to get back in the fight. The capture goes back over to NC State as well. I don't know if Northwood actually noticed, but they've got to get back on. Oh, barely. Early cleanse to try to save one of these Northwood backline members. Bunk is able to shut down Painkiller. This Deadeye might be the only tool they have, but the shutdown from Nelix, that might be enough for NC State if they can find one more kill, but it's a late beat drop and a bomb combo from the side of Northwood. Rocket's able to find the kill onto Bunko and looking to cut down another one, but they end up off the map. 3 players end up off the map, and the weirdest exchange I've maybe ever seen, and NC State still in control of the point.
All there's left is a baby diva on point that is going to secure this point and victory. NC State Red takes map number 1 against Northwood.
And Lobby calls game at the end. That might have been 19 kills in a row where the Cassidy's face was popping up in the feed. So talk about a statement map 1 win for NC State. Every single round looked extremely competitive. They definitely looked like they had the edge for a lion's share of it. Northwood obviously showed you some of that glitz and that glamour, the brilliance in some of these fights where they could just execute your backline in the snap of a finger. But NC State honestly took them to school there, especially at the end. They were a lot better.
Yeah, I agree. As we mentioned, just prefacing, they don't have their support, does Northwood, but they're still putting up quite the fight. I think Painkiller is doing as good as he can do. I think the one issue we've just been seeing is he's been found dead quicker in the fights, more than you would hope. Like CJ would survive a lot longer, be able to provide their team a little bit longer, but again, I think NC State Red also adjusted very well, went to the Vendetta when they felt like they weren't getting value out of their previous hero. And again, I think the Domina is looking very strong for Splice right now as well. And Diva can only eat the end of that shot. Like the beam hurts Diva while it's going off.
Yeah, I was gonna say it has it's like a 2-phase charge essentially. You get the small started off and then the big explosion at the end. But that's why I'm curious now, Northwood, do we decide to try to ban away the Domina, knowing that it might not be the best on every map, but how good Splice played single-handedly finding kills onto Rocket, onto Lep at the end. I think they were able to shut down one of the other DPS, maybe Haven as well. So that Domina was finding maximum value among all 3 of the points. The Domina was like maybe the one shining consistent. Very short. That we get to see some hands obviously before map 2 a little bit later on, and now teams really have to start thinking as the series is going to play out.
That's the question for Northwood going forward is on the support. Are they going to move Icy over? Is Icy going to stay on tank? Is it going to be map dependent? I do think you want to keep the lineup you're running. Take us to a map where Diva is going to be really good. Like maybe let me take a look at the map pool again because I already forgot.
I
Gibraltar. Like, because if Gibraltar's in there, that's a great Diva map. Scrolling up, Gibraltar is in there. So even Rialto's in there. Those are both great Diva maps. I'd be looking to go there and look to continue to play your Diva comp. And then if you get taken to a map where you don't feel as comfortable on the Diva, then you have another discussion.
Yeah, I think the Diva definitely looked good. Even on that last point as well, we had essentially that weird 2-3 split fight where I think Icy and one of the DPS went to go try to play the balcony. I believe it was the Vendetta. And in the meantime, your entire team is just getting completely torn to shreds on the backside of the fight. So maybe trying to be a little bit too cute in some of these situations where it's like, hey, if we can get a trap boot play on the balcony and get 2 players off the map, it's going to be the greatest ever. But you kind of just ignored the rest of the game that was happening for about a minute. So I don't know if the trade-off was worth it. Going to very interesting to see, as obviously every team comfortable with it, very familiar with it. It's been in the pool for far long enough. But NC State, do we keep rocking the Domina? Northwood, do we ban it away? Do we got something to play into it that's going to look better? These are all questions that these teams are going to have to answer.
I think you can still run the dominant. I think the ban phase is going to be very influential in what we see here. I think Diva is still going to be very playable on this map. So I want to see what these teams' headspaces are at. Like, if you're Northwood, do you take the dominant out of their hand and just don't even want to deal with that if you're going to play the Diva comp? I think that could be a worthwhile ban if they go that direction.
Honestly, if I'm Northwood, I would just target ban the Domina. I think this game, if something else pops up and they perform very, very well on it, then we'll take things into consideration going into map 3. But I think if you just look black and white at game 1, what was our biggest issue? I think it was Splice on the Domina. I don't think any of the other picks were necessarily just like crippling Northwood's offense every single time. And I think that Domina is certainly a focal point. So but obviously they might say, you know what, we're going to let you have the dominant. We've actually got like we've got a little idea here, maybe a 2-3 draft, like 2-3 hero comp that they can kind of put together that's a little bit better in skirmishing and trying to take out the dominant. So the good thing is with players this talented, I'm sure there's a million things running through their mind, and I'm sure they've got options to figure it out. But if you're Northwood, you are down 1-0, so you do got to take that into consideration too.
Yeah, I think times of the essence. I mean, I've talked about it plenty of times on cast where reverse sweeping is just not easy to do, especially when you don't have your full roster. So being able to even this up at 1 apiece is going to be essential for the side of Northwood. And for NC State Red, keep that foot on the gas pedal. Do not let up. Do not give Northwood any chance to breathe, because if you do, they will bite, they will fight, they will, be ready to pounce on that opportunity.
I just saw someone in the chat saying splicing. So how did my whole team fall off the map? Asking Rocket, because we saw the the 3-man bungee jumping expedition at the end, essentially, which was very, very funny. But yeah, for NC State, I mean, keep that foot down. The worst thing you can do against these really talented teams is let them off the hook and essentially beat yourselves later in the series. If you just play clean, fundamental Overwatch, hopefully somebody's able to make a play when you need to down the line. This is how you beat these really well-oiled machines. You're more than likely not going to be able to have 1 or 2 players just mechanically diff the entire enemy team. You've got to stick to your ideas, stick to your gun, stick to that level of teamwork that you displayed with everyone filling in every single role perfectly. And I think they've got a very, very good chance, not to necessarily 3-0 this series, but even with Northwood not having a full roster, I mean, NC is a very high ranked team, right? It's not like this is David versus Goliath. I mean, they are essentially very, very close in terms of the general scope of the Overwatch scene.
As you can see, the bands below the Domino. No surprises here for the side of Northwood. NC State looking to ban out the Tracer, which, I mean, that is one of the heroes that Rocket is most well known for. I mean, we saw him absolutely dominating on the Echo on Gardens, but Tracer, man, his Tracer goes absolutely nutty. So it's a no shock to me. NC State is like, there's not even give Rocket a chance to stop the Tracer.
Oh, anyone that's been around collegiate the last few years, Rocket's Tracer is in like the esports Hall of Fame for like player and then their signature pick. There's a few others in other titles, but whenever I see Rocket, that is absolutely probably the hero I synonymize them with. So can't go wrong with that if you're NC State. Northwood, I loved the Domina ban. With it being so new, maybe they actually don't have that good of an answer to it yet. So you might as well just say, you know what? Forget it. We'll deal with something else. We'll play into something else we're more familiar with. And it's a lot more familiar for the NC State side. You got a classic Overwatch 2 comp with the Vendetta slid in there. But Northwood, they're going to have a few new wrinkles there with the Emery and the Vendetta. And then Braden, we've got Braden in the game now on tank. We got a full sub.
Yeah, Braden, very talented player. So there's no surprises here that when they don't want to play the Diva, they need to keep Painkiller on that support. So Braden then comes in. It's not that surprising. I kind of forgot, and I feel bad. I forgot he was on their roster. I would have brought it up if I remembered.
But see, isn't that just like the most Northwood thing of all time? Oh, I forgot they had this incredible player in their 8th slot that can sub in and they can instantly win the first team fight. And that is the beauty of just a program like that, especially Overwatch, that has been one of their premier titles amongst all the other success the school has had. And NC State, obviously a newer program, but with a bunch of investment, a bunch of resources. This is a program that is going to be at the top of the table in multiple esports sooner than later for my money. So this is just one of these fantastic early season matchups where NC State's been looking good, but Northwood looking pretty good so far in the Flashpoint.
Yeah, as we're just seeing these teams jostling their positions, obviously Northwood has controlled the points, so NC State's got to make something happen, and there it is, Lep going down, Lobby finding him.
Able to shut down one of those Northwood supports is certainly a good way to get the fight going. We did see Oblivion, though, getting ripped by that Emery. That 3-round burst is no joke if you've got the aim for it. Northwood still in control of the point. Looks like they might look to give here, but I thought Rocket would maybe go for a drive-by touch, but ultimately NC State, they're able to flip that point over, and Rocket's going to bite the bullet from the boop from Bunka. So NC State should be able to keep Northwood at bay here as they look for a reset.
Yeah, that was a series of unfortunate events there coming from Northwood. Didn't get the touch. Lobby, at least you get the overclock out. You were already losing that fight and looking to back out. So at least you don't have to deal with that ultimate when you look to re-engage because of how fast these flashpoints tick up. One fight and you're gonna, they'll get the touch for a subsequent fight, but it's going to be like a very staggered touch. And now you can re-engage with Northwood with your Kitsune rush to try and match theirs for the side of NC State end.
Yeah, good thing for Oblivion. They're going to be first to that ultimate by a fair margin as long as they keep that DPS up, so they could maybe find an execute onto one of the backline of Northwood. The Kitsune rush gets sent in first. Lep's getting taken to 1 HP. Beat drop in the back pocket eventually will get used. All 5 players enjoying the fruits of it. We do see the Kitsune B coming out of NC State as well, but Oblivion's falling before they're able to pop the ulti. Rocket just wins the 1v1. The Graviton Flux is able to take Splice mid-air as well, and Northwood's able to clean up the fight.
Yeah, NC State Red also going to get that to 99%, so they can look to re-engage. They will have that Sundering Blade, but Rocket has kind of caught up to them, so they both should have it for this fight. And Haven's going to have that Override Protocol, and it's already going to get used. They're trying to catch him in rotation.
Yeah, possibly looking to catch a few targets here, but they're all on the other end of the street. Luckily, listen, a zoning tool is still good enough to make sure Northwood able to lock in the first point. They get the early capture, make up for some of that lost time over there on Lijiang, but now we've got 25 seconds to the point. NC State technically first on there. They've got their tank already firmly in position, so we'll see if Northwood, how the break looks there when they take a few more seconds and group up.
Yeah, they got the deadly combo of the Grav Sundering Blade for NC State Red. That enough should be able to get them the fight, but they've lost their Lucio early. What a disastrous situation to be in.
Yeah, and then Painkiller putting on the DPS hat and able to shut down Oblivion. So NC State, maybe being first isn't always best. They were first on there. Every single player looked like they were locked and loaded. Northwood said, yep, that's cute. We've got a Vendetta on our team. Rocket draws first blood. And Northwood, as they will, the second they smell blood in the water, they are going to circle like sharks, able to find the last few shutdowns, and now they get to play a little bit of defense, and this is where Sigma wants to be. Able to put that shield up, zone away this Vendetta in a perfect world, as we do see Oblivion going for the backline. The Graviton Surge solo onto one of the Northwood carries, and now Rocket's able to go upstairs and drop down and take down Oblivion. Still a 3v5 for NC State, though they've got every advantage in the world as Northwood is left scrambling with these DPS.
Excuse me. Point flip comes in for NC State, and again, they didn't even have to, they used the grab, but they still kept their Sundering Blade. That's going to be a big deal, and Rocket used that in that fight, so you're going to take that. And a late stagger onto Haven's just going to get you so much free percentage. Lep, however, the thing about the sound barrier, though, is the Sundering Blade ignores the extra overhead health you get from the sound barrier, so you don't want to beat that ultimate.
Yeah, it's essentially just true damage through all the overhealing. And speaking of, Oblivion looking to get the lineup, but not able to. The ulti comes up empty-handed, but Lobby's able to rally it in with the railgun. Painkiller finds a trade onto the opposing tank, so this is a Northwood advantage with the tank DPS trade going through. Kitsune rush forced out from both sides, and now Haven's going to be able to find the next kill. The Ember starting to pop off and able to live on 1 HP. The overclock from Lobby trying to swing the fight back in their favor, and it was going pretty damn good for a second, but Oblivion and Haven now able to find a few more kills. And oh my goodness, Haven able to live and keep on going. Haven's been 1 HP this whole fight.
Yeah, now we got the battles of the swords, but Lucio able to come in and interrupt that. NC State takes the next point, ties up the submat count on Saravasa as they now rotate. It looks like the next one is Can't tell. It's either Ruins or it's Temple. It looks like it's Ruins.
So yeah, once we get a team that's in the vicinity in the area code, we'll get a clearer picture. But 15 seconds until the point unlocks. We have seen Northwood win a couple nice fights, but NC State, I think the teamwork has just been better, and you called it before this game as well, just catching out Lep or Painkiller or even Haven before they went on that long kill streak. And Northwood sometimes just losing a key member in the blink of an eye, and then all of a sudden the fight goes upside down. And Haven, ultimate online, able to catch a flank angle onto Oblivion. That is a clutch bubble though from Splice, and then Bunk is dropping the beat, so NC State, they're able to just walk off this Emery ulti for the most part. Yeah, Haven, it's just going to expire with nothing being found, and NC State going for the capture.
Yeah, those are some really good bubbles coming in from the side of Splice. Got two of them to basically ignore those burst damage shots, and Rocket gets taken down by Oblivion. I will say, Rocket had himself a showing on Lijiang Tower, but these last couple points, man, Oblivion has really been living up to this Vendetta duel and get the better of Rocket in certain situations.
Yeah, Rocket looked like the better Vendetta for the first 45 seconds of this map. It has been all Oblivion's world since then. The ultimate even popping off earlier. Rocket, naturally, there was no other way for their next fight to go. I'm sorry, Oblivion. You've been playing almost perfectly this map, but you finally do lose your ones. And the Graviton Surge gets invested, so Splice looking to hang in there. Braden trying to send it through too. Lobby and Splice able to clean up the rest of the fight. Rocket's hanging on for dear life. Painkiller, the only one alive, and NC State completely cleaned them out.
Yeah, I don't even think Northwood's going to be able to get a touch. Yeah, even Rocket's the one who's like lagging behind. I mean, maybe Lep can come in, but to me, it's not worth it. Just look to reset and take a fight at the next point, and they are going to do exactly that, as now we'll be heading to Temple for the next point. And Northwood and NC State, we're going to have dueling Sundering Blades for this next fight, which I think is going to be one to keep an eye out from. But Lobby being sneakily close to this overclock could be the tool for NC State to really put a cherry on top for this point and get the percentage going in your favor.
The Vendettas may jump off our screen, but we saw Lobby earlier, low-key, cool, calm, and collected. The second the overclock gets sent in, it was kill central for NC State. Speaking of, though, Northwood takes them to town. Oh, my goodness. The beat drop from Lep, and then they just throw hands with the entire NC State side. The Sundering Blade got used early on to try to find a pick. Lep said, yep, beat drop, and how is that looking? Northwood, their cleanest team fight win of the day, probably. They are able to get the capture, and not a moment too soon. NC State 1 point away from going up 2-0 in the series.
Yeah, once they got that Sundering Blade out, it was then free to beat. So then they're able to just re-engage so easily with that, and they're able to save their Sundering Blade and Kitsune Rush for this next fight. So now NC State relying pretty heavily on Lobby to make something happen with the overclock.
Oh, we've got Rocket taken to the skies, able to shut down Oblivion. But Lobby, that second DPS, as we said, waiting in the wings, waiting for their moment to strike. And the overclock at the perfect time to shut down two of the Northwood players. NC State gets it back in blood. Kitsune overclock and 5 kills on the board.
Yeah, it's going to be a big team fight win for the side of NC State, and they're getting very close to this beat drop. The thing is, they need to make sure they get this online quickly because Braden is 5% away from that grab. You got to make sure you have the beat ready for this Graviton Surge, and then hope that your bubbles are good enough to deal with Haven's override protocol once again, like it was last time.
I was going to say, I'm shaking the magic 8 ball, and I'm seeing Braden and Haven possibly with the game-winning play. They are going to use the Graviton Surge first. Haven just not really able to make a play. They do force the beat out of NC State, so you get a massive cooldown in the process. And Haven's able to find the trade, so both Vendettas, they are not going to be here for this team fight. Haven still has the ultimate still firing away, able to shut down the NC State tank, and I'm thinking Northwood's going to win this fight too.
Yeah, very well done with that override protocol. Knew that Oblivion was low inside of the room, able to use the explosion damage to take him out, and then waited out those bubbles from Splice and was able to take him down as well. NC State Red, however, can look to re-engage with the Graviton Surge, but Lep has built up to the beat in time, so if they can elongate this fight for as long as possible and play for Oblivion's Sundering Blade, that might be the win condition they're trying to get to.
Yeah, and then Lobby, I need you to keep on shooting to see if we can get that overclock with the disruptions, able to find the kill onto Haven. They forced the beat out of Northwood. The Graviton Surge gets used from Splice, trying to shut down the opposing tank, but it's a nightmare. Northwood able to find the few first early kills. Lep will eventually get shut down. The beat already invested. Oblivion not going to come up with anything on the Sundering Blade. Rocket looking to see if they can win the 1-for-1. It is overtime on the clock. Brayden and Lobby trading back a few more kills. Northwood with their tank, though, they should be able to hold this fight and hold this ground. It
Oh,
looks
I
like
don't like that.
Will be...
Oh, that's not good.
Oh my
Sorry,
goodness. No, that's fair enough. That was fair.
That Kitsune rush.
That
coming
fair.
in at the end was a huge mistake.
I honestly hadn't noticed until then I noticed why, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, no, that fight was not winnable. You needed to save that for this last flashpoint. To me, that could be the reason why Northwood ends up winning this.
Against these high-quality teams, even if it was a team doing it against NC State too, it'd be the same thing. You cannot afford to waste any of these big cooldowns because, yeah, like you said, look what Northwood gets to do now. Oh, you don't have a Kitsune Rush to try to answer us? Well, we get to run you off the point for free. Now we have the Graviton Surge, we have the Sundering Blade basically ready to go, and we get to play defense for the rest of the way.
Yeah, so again, then we look to Lobby once again, who has a lot of pressure on their back again for this fight, having to make something huge happen with this overclock. Almost got an early pick on, but they're able to get around the corner right before the rail knocked them.
Decent disruption damage onto the back line. It's got to be Lobby's moment. If NC State wants to win this fight, this is a good way to get it going. Instantly, two teammates are dead. The Graviton Surge from Brayden just shuts the entire play down. The only kill they find is with the overclock, and Lobby has to run for the hills. This is not a very winnable 1v1 as the Sojourn, I fear. Rocket showing them 1-4. And Northwood, as you said, that Kitsune from NECC early, they might not even get a Kitsune Rush if they don't fight in time.
Yeah, and unfortunate, they are in a situation where they got one more shot at this flashpoint, but they really don't have anything. They get a beat drop, but you're facing down Sundering Blade, as I mentioned. Beat does not matter against that ult.
Oblivion's gonna hop to the Pharah as well now too, so a little more, I say more mobility, not like Vendetta can fire on the map, but a little more pressure from vertical potentially. Sundering Blade, the bubble is gonna save things, but NC State, they're gonna force the beat early. Splice is getting bullied these last 4 team fights, and Northwood looks like they may have done enough to close out the flashpoint.
Yeah, they are going to tie up this series 1-1. Just what the doctor ordered, as I mentioned, going down 2-0 would have put themselves in a really tricky spot going forward. But they get Brayden in on this map, plays the Sig, plays the Zarya. They just work so well with Rocket. And again, that Kitsune Rush being used on that previous point truly was that nail in the coffin for NC State Red and their hopes. I mean, I do think Northwood played that last point extremely well, but if you could have matched Kitsune's, maybe you're able to win that fight, and maybe you have control of the point, and it maybe buys you an extra fight, even if Northwood comes back and takes it.
Absolutely. It's not a free win button. It at least gave you a better fighting chance because you just walked up there and Northwood said, we just have every advantage now. Them having Kitsune means they were first to the point. They were able to run you off. They got first blood at the point. And honestly, really, really good, just concerted effort by Northwood to shut Splice down every single time they overstepped. Even when Splice was playing well and trying to space out this Northwood side, they were perma-diving that tank, seeing the impact they had, and knowing that if Zarya is able to bubble this Vendetta in a last-second fight, it might be the reason we lose. So I think that was just a really, really good, strong effort out of Northwood to isolate the biggest problems and then shut them down. Lobby did have a lot of great moments, but a Sojourn, unless you're pentakilling with the overclock, somewhat limited, right? Once 2 or 3 teammates die, you have to put that cape on and basically be Superman to try to win the team fight. They did their best, but Northwood not going down 0-2. They're going to win that map and put the ball back in NC State's court for choice.
Well, folks, we have ourselves a series on our hand, tied 1-1 between the number 2 ranked Northwood and the number 10 ranked NC State. We're going to take a quick break while we allow these teams to figure out where they're going with their bans and their maps for this crucial map number 3. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Nice brief intermission. We are ready to get underway. NC State and Northwood. We got a best of 3 now to decide who's going to walk away the winner. NC State wins control. Northwood walks away with a very, very close, hard-fought Saravasa. And Northwood potentially saying enough is enough. Painkiller will be swapping roles, and CJ will be stepping into the server.
Yeah, so now this is like their full roster here. Painkiller on the tank. They got Haven and Rocket with Lep and CJ. So NC State, you got this to a 1-1 series. You put yourself in a position where you could possibly win this. Bought yourself some time, made this a series while they still got their players back. So now let's see how the punching up is going to do. Let's see how this series goes from here on out. Blizzard World is going to be our third map in the series, which lends itself, pretty well to like the dive, like the Divas, the Winstons of the world. But it also can be extremely flexible. Sigmas have also been a mainstay on this map. So let's see where the teams are going to go. We got the bands on screen. NC State taking Kiri out of CJ's hands to go, well, you got your Kiri player now. Let's take that away. And it's also going to further incentivize being able to play dive with like the Ana Brig or like a Brig Juno. And then the Genji band coming in from the side of Northwood. That's a little perplexing. I mean, obviously Oblivion has, their flex DPS. I've seen Oblivion, pretty good on Genji, but little surprised they decided to take that away on this map.
Looks like we might be having a little feline v feline backline potentially. We will see if they end up sticking through the map. If that is the case, I was going to say would surprise me slightly, I guess. But with these players, how good they are, they can essentially slot in anything. But it looks like Brig and Wu Yang will be that NC State backline. The Domina back in the hands of Splice, now no longer banned. So away CJ's Kiriko, and then Splice pick up that tank they were dominant on, no pun intended. NC State, you got yourself to a 1-1 series like you said. Northwood trying to put together Exodia to see if they can get back in the series or at least take the lead. And we are going to get a little taxi from the Cat.
Yeah, no surprise. I do think the Cat is, there's certain maps where the Cat thrives on and is very well. I think this map kind of sits in the middle. Like, it's not a really good Cat map, but it's also not a really bad Cat map. So, but especially on the attack, being able to get your wins into this high ground very easily without having to jump is a big deal. But Painkiller's already down, unfortunately. Took too much damage from the Domina and from the Ash of Lobby.
Left able to keep it. Looks like Haven and Rocket alive, and CJ's able to find the first 2 kills. Yeah, CJ, listen, you take my Kiriko, that's fine. The Ana does damage too. Able to kill both of the DPS, no less as well. As Lep looking to go for a dive onto the rest of the backline. You obviously have Rocket filling in that Vendetta, which they played pretty well in that Saravasa, and Haven able to shut down Splice. Northwood just honestly kill after kill, not really that massive team fight win. Just very quick picks in succession. Nelix is able to find the shield bash. Haven gets the headshot, and Northwood gonna get a whole lot of progress.
That's the other thing I will say about the Cat too, is the 2 heroes that, are most well known for going with the Cat is Kiri is the best. Kiri's not available, but Ana is number 2. Ana's just a little bit greedier, and Ana's obviously more diveable. But if you hit some good anti-nades, the Ana-Cat combo can actually be disgusting. And we know CJ on the Ana that CJ's gonna be hitting the nades.
I was going to say, just looking at the quality of player, it's not are they going to be able to make that insane play? It's when are they going to find the angle and shut down NC State with this very, very fun and very exciting duo as Oblivion. Going to get caught out again. That's like the 3rd time already. Both, I think the first 2 times to CJ, and then Haven getting the best of them in the last couple fights. And Lep looking to go and have the ultimate online as well, seeing if they can scoop anybody up, but not to be, as CJ content to ride the cart, get those heals sustained throughout the squad. And NC State Splice now going to go over to the Diva as well, so the Domina ultimately deciding that is not going to be the answer moving forward. Everybody else staying the same for now as the ultimates are getting very close.
Yeah, I like the Diva. The Diva can put a lot of pressure onto the Winston. They are going to nano their Emery to keep them alive in this fight. Override Protocol now going to be online as well.
Tidal Wave able to shut down CJ, so Bunka at least finding one back. The Pulse Bomb not able to find the mark. Oblivion, that was maybe their only chance at trying to keep the fight going, but they're able to find a lot of damage. Can they get the kill? So close. Eventually Haven will fall, and it's going to be Painkiller going down too, so NC State, a rough early fight, but they find it back somehow.
Yeah, as Rocket on that Vendetta having to get forced back just a little bit, taking a little bit too much damage as Lep is doing their best to try and keep them up, but the Cat can only do so much without the Per available to them.
Yeah, you need those cooldowns and a few teammates to really make that play be functionable, as Lobby has Bob in the back pocket. Painkiller getting killed by the coach gun. Jump scared and ultimately just taken down. Painkiller finds out the hard way that Lobby is not messing around. And Haven's going to get shut down from the ultimate as well, so the Ash is taking over.
I will say that's going to be the hard thing with this Emery, especially in the override protocol, is the Diva can just absolutely mitigate the entirety of that ultimate. Rocket does, wow, you know, despite everything, we're still getting favorable trades for the side of Northwood as they're going to be able to get some push on this car. The only thing is the spawns are going to be a lot more favorable for the side of NC State as the Ash comes out to try and help out, stall the card out a little bit.
I know Lep's trying to get this ultimate used in some way, shape, or form. That's why they were hanging around near the water, able to find it, at least trying to find some damage. And yeah, listen, full combo onto Lobby. They're able to find the kill onto Bob quickly as well. And despite the fact I thought this was looking like a very good round for NC State, still looks pretty good. Northwood, every time they just need to find 2 random kills to turn the team fight, it just seems like Rocket and Crew are able to get it.
As I swear, to me, it's no surprise that Lep has taken an affinity to this dang cat. Oh, he's been so known for going on his adventures on Lucio. The cat only exemplifies that even more, and he's just showing off his skill on full display at this point. Very well done from Lep there.
It's just a checkout as the opposing team too, because it's like, do we try to chase this cat around for an hour to maybe not kill them, or do we just try to ignore it and then curse Lep under our breath later? And it's very, very tough to try to play around when the movement of the cat player is actually sublime. And you mentioned having fun on the Lucio. This is like 10 times the mobility and 10 times the movement. So, you know, Lep is having a grand old time smiling ear to ear at the moment, especially with the way Northwood is handling these last few fights. Oblivion goes down again. The Baptiste will not be able to survive. We're going to get a swap to the Ilarian Lobby. Back on the Widowmaker as well. So NC State trying everything they can to slow push.
I'm a little surprised that Haven decided to go over to the Widow, but I mean, they're going to have a lot of peel, especially from Lep, who can help if they ever get to Ansi on their dives. But again, if you're splicing Oblivion, I'd be going after this Widow. Oh my goodness. That's why Haven is on this Widow. Disgusting.
Yep, Widow can always be a questionable choice if you don't find the big one, but when you find an instant headshot like that, and then you've got Lep diving in on the backline with the ultimate with Painkiller at their side, Northwood just pulls the trigger and the spawn at the right time, and now Haven gets to hold the disgusting shoulder off angle into the spawn door with the rifle, and Northwood slowly but surely approaching the end of the map. The Sunder Blade is going to be inset from above. They're able to demech the Diva and find the kill, and NC State, they're able to pop the window as a last second gasp. But ultimately, it will not be lasting very long. Northwood, 2:08 on the clock in a clinical second half of Blizzard World.
Yeah, and unfortunately, because all the swapping NC State Red had done, all they had for that final fight was that window. And again, it's going against a Winston with like a cat and an Ana and Widow who are playing far back. How do you get value out of a window? It's just so hard. So I think NC State may need to reevaluate what they want to do to be able to try and combat this Winston composition.
The mobility is certainly an issue, and yeah, even speaking to the window, they're either going to avoid it with their mobility, or they're going to fly off the top rope onto the top of your head behind the window, and then you're still not going to find any use out of it. Northwood, certainly a much, much cleaner second half of the attack there. They started to look a lot better. Even when NC State was finding a couple really key picks to get fights going, Rocket, Haven, Painkiller, even Lep a few times, just the second Northwood has to find that play, they seemingly create it from thin air. And now we're going to see how the defense is going to fare and see if we actually do see any swaps in any form. It looks like Northwood mostly going to be sticking, and yeah, if it ain't broke, I wouldn't fix it.
All righty. For the side of NC State Red, I mean, obviously they're going to have a Lobby go for that Widow shot. That's not all that surprising. The other thing is, like, Winston's also not a hero. I'm also expecting with the cat, like, who's expecting them to just basically put Winston over some of those walls and just allow Winston to drop on them, and then you still have your jump available. So it's a really awesome composition to be seeing on Northwood as well. Little too creative there. Lep gets punished.
I was about to say, I actually really like this spot. And then the entire NC State team said, hold up, what is Lep doing? And now Oblivion's able to find the quick kill onto Rocket. So Northwood having a little bit of fun in the sun in the early going, but if NC State puts their foot on the gas, they can maybe go take some space. Painkiller, though, able to find a big kill on the other way, and CJ just rips Lobby with Painkiller, so NC State, you got 2 free kills to start the game, and it didn't matter.
Yeah, but they will get Painkiller, which is a big deal. They're going to have to be a little bit... Oh, with them getting spliced, never mind. Yeah, fight's going to just have to reset there. Basically back at square one, but a minute's been taken off the clock. Northwood, as we see Rocket already getting off of the Tracer, going over the Vendetta, but Oblivion and Lobby have taken down their DPS counterparts.
DPS differential for NC State Red, and Lobby's able to find the kill out of spawn and then instantly swaps to the Cassidy to get back on the point. The sleep from CJ is not going to connect. A good ante to try to slow things down, but the lamp being there means that CJ is done for. NC State with a perfect punish in the side hall, and now Lep, yeah, average cat gameplay when there's no teammates in the area code. You got to try to see if you can find a killer, scurry on back to a teammate, but NC State, they are going to flood this point. Haven gets killed again, and I'm thinking they're going to be able to find this full capture.
Yeah, Haven going over the Tracer, definitely. Haven's definitely flexible, but definitely more known as a hit scan player. Yeah, Oblivion getting Rocket, point cap for NC State Red, and all things considered, I was curious how they were going to fire back, you know, with a kind of dominant attack coming in from Northwood, but they came back strong. It was really impressive from them.
I mean, these DPS are taking this personally. Oblivion and Lobby have 90% of the kills. Oblivion has every single kill to start every fight so far, and now you get rewarded with the Pulse Bomb. Haven is going to go back to the Emery, so we are going to eventually see that swap. As you mentioned, maybe not necessarily known for the Tracer, and it doesn't matter who you play because I will find you. Oblivion able to get the Pulse Bomb. Haven goes down again. They sent the Nano on to Painkiller, thinking the fight would maybe be good. The Primal Rage obviously not ready to go. Lep looking for somebody to take away with the ultimate, but now the Deadeye from Lobby going to get sent in. Lep and Bunker going to trade one back and forth, so NC State still looking very good, and these DPS are frying.
Yeah, Lobby on the Cassidy is coming through in absolutely strong ways. We do see a Haven over on that Emery now. The question is, what does Northwood look to do here to try and take advantage of facing down 2 big-time support ultimates? But I did talk about how it's hard to get value with this window with the composition that Northwood is playing.
Especially in some of these areas where it's obviously very, very open. There's a lot of cover, there's a lot of high ground that you can try to maneuver behind, and a lot of mobility in the Northwood kit in general. So if they can find that right timing, the window can very well swing a fight. But no beat, no window, and no backline left standing. Oblivion and Splice, the only 2 able to survive. They do find the trade over onto Rocket, but Northwood finally gets the fight they're looking for. NC State, 1 more kill, and then it'll be a cheeky little reset. Stagger.
Yeah, that's a brutal stagger coming in, and just as the mech's coming in, able to finish off the kill. And again, that's just a lot of time wasted. And considering how fast they got the point, Northwood wanting to win this map needs to waste as much time on the second point as possible. They will have a Sundering Blade to be able to work with on this next point. NC State Red still holding on to both of those support ultimates.
Yeah, Primal Rage, Thundering Blade in the back pocket. Obviously, the beat drop in the window is still ready to go for NC State Red. Just haven't really found the best time to use it, but Bunk is trying to lead the charge with the beat drop now. And the Primal Rage, we are going to see Painkiller tries to go hunting onto the Lucio. Not the easiest target to send into the lake, but they're able to eventually get it on the second and third swipe. So the beat drop essentially gets wasted, and Northwood's able to just completely lock in and play the rest of this fight out fairly easily. As I say that, though, the flashbang shutting down CJ, the cat coming through in time to save the DPS. Painkiller lives, and Northwood takes another fight.
And again, with very small ultimate usage, I mean, we do see Bunkachunko now on the cat, matching them at this point. I do think the cat Ana is better than the cat BAP. I mean, the only advantage is the BAP has the immortality field, but I mean, I don't think there's really any situation where that's going to be super advantageous for a diva composition.
Trying to use this window on offense too is just infinitely harder. On defense, you can at least just go sit on the high ground, slam the window, and it's essentially going to get you some value, and at the very least it slows the attacking team down from pushing. But Lobby and Splice, they've had enough of the funny business. They are trying to shut Northwood down. Lep's going to try to take somebody away from the fight. CJ able to shut down Bunka after the Lep ulti gets invested as well. And now Lep bit of a rough spot. I was going to say for a second, I thought Splice maybe would try to rain down on their head, but the Cat's able to live. And Northwood has done a very good job of stalling this push out to a halt. And there's the window we talked about. No value whatsoever. You just get abused on the low ground.
Yes, they're going to force the Diva Bomb remech. Unfortunately, Splice, I don't know if that's the time you want to go for that because they're just able to kill you. As we saw, you don't even get the remech available. Oblivion going to get off the Tracer, going over to the Vendetta now. I mean, we did see at times on Saravasa, Oblivion was taking Rocket in that duel pretty well. So let's see if they can do it again. Because we got a pause coming in.
Definitely an awkward time for a pause with NC State's backs against the wall. 30 seconds left in the round. They are yet to hit the checkpoint, so they've got to see if they can win not just one team fight. It's going to have to be a few big team fights in a row to lock things down. And looking at the alt economy with the amount of swaps NC State Red has made, they might just get alt diffed in the last fight and there's nothing they can do about it. They might have 2 to 3 ultimates get online by the time the fight is finished, but Northwood's going to be able to just hit those big red buttons much sooner and much easier.
And the problem is because Northwood finished with over 2 minutes on the clock, they're in a situation where they have to move quickly. They have to finish with time on the clock. I don't even know if that's possible at this point now.
Look at these alts. I mean, they are in the dumps as far as percentage with the swaps. And Bunka's ultimate, it's fun, it's nice. Is that going to win you a team fight? I would wager probably not, as we do see Haven taking to the skies to get as much early chip damage, at least slow down the NC State push. The Sundering Blade doesn't find anything, but Lobby gets shut down by the Primal, and Northwood's calling game on this point. I'm certain of it. No Deadeye, no Cat ulti, and obviously Northwood, the alts end up making the difference as I expected. Splice is going to do what they can with the rest of the crew to find a pick and keep the game going, but Baby Diva has no chance. Northwood up 2-1.
Puts themselves on match point. I mean, this is kind of what I expected to happen. NC State has shown their flashes, but with the full roster in, I expected Northwood to comfortably be able to win. And that's kind of what that map felt like, was just a nice, comfortable win. I wouldn't say like blowout, but it was just not, they didn't have to stress too hard about it.
Yeah, they for sure. They got tested. It was a good back and forth fight the entire way through. Definitely CJ on the Ana, especially earlier on when Northwood starts the attack. CJ just Kobe's a grenade onto somebody, gets a second kill immediately. Northwood's able to immediately run onto the point, and then you're like, okay, take my Kiriko. There's still other supports in this game that I can deal damage on and support and carry the team. So Northwood, right, with their 5 Exodia pieces, so to speak, certainly looking a lot better. But that NC State team, man, they are very scrappy. I think just too many switches at the end was not the only reason that they ended up losing, but I think not having any ultimates for that last team fight was just the ultimate nail in the coffin.
Yeah, I think Lobby and Oblivion have been playing pretty well, all things considered. Good. To me, it's just really felt like a pretty big support gap. I think CJ and Lep are just outperforming their counterparts on the side of NC State Red, and sometimes that's all it comes down to, is your supports are just playing out of their mind, and that's what Lep and CJ have been doing.
Yeah, I think Lep's only death was when they did their best Hammond impression and just sat above the doorway healing all their teammates on the roof, and then NC State all looks up and goes, yeah, we might as well take you out of the sky here and we'll deal with that later. So I think definitely the team as a whole from Northwood playing a lot better, looking a lot more comfortable on some of the picks. The Cat unironically got a ton of value. You said it. Lep was clearly having the time of their lives, just flying around, flying behind Painkiller, making sure they can soak up all that damage for them and not have to worry about it. So definitely looked more like the Northwood I was expecting to see. But NC State, I would not be surprised at all if they find the right map, they ban away the right heroes, and they end up pushing this to a game 5.
Yeah, NC State definitely has the caliber of players and teams to be able to do that, to put pressure on Northwood. But again, as I mentioned in the prelude of this entire series, they're going to have to play perfect. They're going to have to get the exact map right, the right bans, and then play almost perfect on the map itself to push this to a map number 5. So curious to see where they want to go. We still have Push and Escort available. So, problem is, I think, most of these escort maps, Gibraltar, I forget what the other ones are, but Rialto, they're going to lend itself pretty well to what Painkiller and what the entirety of Northwood have been wanting to play this entire time. And then Push, maybe you just take it to the not Esperanza one, because that's just going to be Winston Central. Maybe that's the direction you go in.
And we are actually getting another sub from Northwood. Again, the beauty of having essentially 9 pro players on the roster. CJ, going to be out. Thank you for the auto game. We'll be seeing you. Vega coming in, another player that if you've watched any college, you are going to be familiar with them. The beauty of Northwood's roster, I was gassing them up earlier, and rightfully so. You have this many talented players that you can just pluck at will in the middle of a series. It certainly makes your lives easy. We'll see how the adjustment actually wants to shake things up, and if we see some more goofy role swaps or exactly what they're thinking, because obviously they've got confidence, they've got the series lead now. But NC State, the map and the mode will be very interesting to me, and honestly, the bans too. The Domina's off the table. Splice can play that if they want. What do you try to ban away from Northwood at this point?
Maybe like a vendetta ban. If I mean, not that, Rocket's been running circles around Oblivion, but just take that X factor out of the play, like not have to worry about who's popping on Vendetta when. Just take Vendetta out of the equation and let's settle this in some or other kind of a duel. But that would be my guess. And I guess that's the point. Domina is now available because Domina wasn't going to be as conducive to a map like Blizzard. We kind of saw that where they had to swap pretty quickly, but you could take it to like an escort map where, as I talked about, that's where Domina thrives the most is on those escort maps.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking because that's been by far Splice's best pick of the night. They had some good success on, I believe, the Diva and then the Zarya, I think one map as well, but that Domina was really, I mean, there was the only map that NC State won was the map when Domina was through early in the series. So if they're able to pick that up, Rialto, certainly be interested to see if they want to try something like that. Could certainly be a little challenging at points, but with how well Splice played and how well NC State played around it, I'm interested to see if they say, listen, it might not be optimal here, but this is what got us a dub earlier. They're going to be away the Winston, which gave them nightmare fuel over there on the Blizzard world. And then Northwood taking away the Echo, certainly lots of space to cook around on this map, lots of space to get lost and fry one of those backline Northwood members. So not too surprising, but the Winston ban, we will see exactly what they've got planned into it.
I'm excited to get this started. I mean, obviously the Winston, I mean, that's kind of one of Painkiller's, big main takes that they like to play. And this is definitely a dive-oriented map. So to not have that available. And then Northwood taking out the Echo, which is funny because, Rocket kind of ran it down on Echo on Lijiang Tower. But I kind of get it. They want to play the Vendetta composition. So I'm excited to see where we go. No surprises for NC State Red, though, rolling out on that Domina. It's kind of been one of those pocket picks for the side of Splice. Northwood, I will not believe the hog bait. I don't know what you're going to play, Painkiller.
Hog cat? I don't know, maybe.
I don't believe it until I see it.
It certainly looked more like a solo queue style comp at the beginning. Vega is going to be on to the Lucio. I'm a little disappointed that we don't got Lep over on the cat, but can't go wrong with the Kiriko, especially on a map like this, as we do see Bunka looking to get a little bit of early ult charge. Listen, somebody is getting cat ulted into the canal. It's not a matter of if, it's when, and I want to see if Bunka can find that right kill at the right time later.
Yeah, I did not expect to see Roadhog coming out on my list, which is interesting too with Lep and Vega in the play, because Lep and Vega are both main supports, and they got Lep on the Kiriko, so it feels like Northwood is definitely feeling themselves a little bit, and no surprises here. I mean, they just clean up that first fight no matter what, man. Like you mentioned, when they got the Avengers, when they got their Exodia pieces, even when they mix and match them, they're still dominant.
And honestly, I would be more scared seeing a team like Northwood lock something sillier like the Roadhog, because I'm like, these guys are psychos, and that is a terrifying thing to think about. Northwood, we know they're great at playing normal, standard, boring Overwatch. When they're pulling out things that are a little bit unconventional, you know they're feeling confident, which is already scary as is, but you know that they're going to try to fight you to the death, and they are going to try to run you down and really put that pace on you. So a good response in the second team fight out of NC State Red, I must admit, though, able to shut down Painkiller. I think they took down Lep a few seconds earlier. They are going to force Vega to swap onto the Ari as well. So Northwood, they are going to put a few wrinkles into the comp a little earlier than maybe expected.
Yeah, unfortunately, a late pick from Rocket. They were really hoping to try and get the kill on the Bunka Chunko, but we're not able to do that and get punished because of it. So Northwood's going to have to play a lot more patient. Yeah, and I had a feeling swaps were going to have to come in at some point. I do think the Hog is going to have to be eventually swapped. Like, it's fun, it's niche, it's going to have its place, but I think, all in all, as this map continues, you're going to have to swap if you want to win.
Yeah, do you get a lot of dopamine from getting a hook one-shot? Yes. Do you have the best front line in the world? Absolutely not, and looks like NC State Red putting their foot down again. Lobby gonna pop the overclock. We saw Splice get active with the Panopticon, and both Northwood supports already dead for this fight, so NC State Red, I mean, this map can be very, very tough on attack, especially toward the end in certain areas, but NC State Red is almost pitching a shutout so far besides the first team fight.
Yeah, I mean, that whole hog might be able to buy you this point. I mean, they still have the Domino who can, on point, put a lot of pressure. They're going to have to go touch. Bunker's going to be able to do that on the cat. And the pulse comes through with the crystal coming in from Splice, able to clean things up.
NC State with a wombo combo. That was perfect timing. Great work out of Splice and Oblivion to make sure that no Northwood players were going to be able to survive. Lep now going over to the Baptiste to try to get that immortality field to at least keep the team alive if they need to get a last-second touch, which the farther this card pushes back Northwood, it looks like overtime might be your only option of trying to get back at this one. Bunk is looking for the assassination, not able to find it, but the beauty of the cat, you can get in, you can get out. In the meantime, Oblivion is going to get shut down by the Roadhog, so Northwood, this is your time to go.
Couldn't agree more. The Alari ultimate's now going to come out, and Rocket finds Splice. Yeah, that should be the first point cap for Northwood finally. Wasting a lot of time. This is kind of what I talked about. If you want to be able to, I mean, unless you want to, possibly get 3 points with no time on the clock and then completely, start being serious again on defense, maybe you can make that happen, but so you're just playing with fire, continuing to play the Roadhog.
Northwood able to win the fight, and they just caught NC State at a really good timer. I think that might not have worked. NC State Red just had no ultimates available for that last fight, so they might have had a way to shut down the Roadhog, but they just had none of those big, powerful tools. We saw the Solar from Vega before the swap to the Kiriko again, so Northwood had just enough in the kit there to win the fight. They're going to go for the window, but Lep immediately gets deleted by a disruption, and Bunk is going to land a lot of chip damage onto the other backline member as well, so the supports from Northwood, you mentioned that NC State Red supports were kind of getting it handed to them in the earlier series, and they were, but now they are just diffing Northwood.
I mean, they're also playing Ana into Hog. So yeah, you're going to have a really tough day if you're Painkiller on Hog going into an Ana. Again, that's the other reason. Hog is extremely counter-compable. If you just swap to Ana, possibly play Orisa, you just destroy Hog.
Yeah, well, until Painkiller maybe uses this ulti and swaps off, no excuses, Northwood. You decided to roll out this comp. You decided to stick on it. You're going to have to live with the result as well, as the Overclock getting a lot of value from the high ground. Nelix able to find the kill onto Rocket. Northwood, with the 4 players, will be forced to stand back, as it looks like the Hog got slept for a brief moment, and Splice able to shut down Vega again. Vega and Lep are just having a rough game today.
I mean, again, as I talked about, they're both main support players. So the fact that they took out CJ is still baffling to me. I mean, let's see. Northwood's going to have 3 ultimates, so maybe they can make something happen. But Kitsune Rush being available for Nelix is just going to be a very big deal. The Kitsune Rush is just such a good ultimate.
And Oblivion looking for a pulse bomb angle. Painkiller's going to pop the whole Hog, able to find the kill on the Splice. The Immortality Lamp's able to keep Painkiller alive a little longer as well. Oblivion desperately looking to find one of these kills on a support. Lep eventually getting shut down. Lobby and Haven going to go 1 for 1 at the end of the fight, but the Kitsune Rush forced out of Nelix. Northwood able to find a few more kills. The Roadhog, the only one left alive, and NC State Red losing a few players in the crossfire as well. So Northwood, you get to keep on pushing the cart courtesy of Painkiller. Oblivion, wow, that was close.
Now it's almost like Lep is like, all right, time to get serious here. Going to go over to the Lucio. So let's see how that's going to change things. They will have the Kitsune Rush coming out from Vega. Let's see if they can make some magic happen, but Painkiller's been antied.
Oh, they are 1 HP. We got to be able to kill the Roadhog. Painkiller able to escape on 1 for now. Eventually, the chase down comes through from Oblivion, and not a moment too soon. Northwood, 1.5 meters, but 15 seconds on the clock, and Bunk is able to find the kill on the Haven. Northwood getting rolled out completely. It's a team kill, and are they? I don't think they have time to make it back.
They don't have a touch.
No, yeah, because it's a Hog. Yeah, no one else is alive. It's just the Roadhog.
Yep, so that's going to be the first point attack from Northwood. They basically get to the end of second point, and to me that puts NC State Red in a perfect position to set up a map number 5. You don't even have to get to third point. Like, they're in a good spot right now.
You rattle off a few big team fights, get those ultis timed up correctly, and that is very, very doable for the side of NC State. Give them a lot of credit. They completely locked down the defense at the end, keeping Northwood off at the 1 yard line, 1.4 meters away from the time bonus, and possibly, right, North wooding it up. And sometimes, right, you can hold them, and then they just open the floodgates at the worst possible time, finish the map fast as ever. NC State, certainly a very, very strong defense to get us going. And yeah, you don't have to play perfect to win this map. You just got to play really good. Your defense gave you an excellent chance to take this through.
As we see for NC State Red, no surprises here, rolling out on the Domina on the attack. The question is going to be for the defense of Northwood. Do they continue playing this Hog, or are they going to play something a little bit more serious? Let's be real. Come on, Hog is not a serious pick.
Yeah, it's only serious if you're actually finding the one-shot hooks every single time somebody's alive, but there wasn't really that much value. Painkiller's name wasn't popping up too much. Even, I think, between the 3 Hogs they used, I think maybe 1 or 2 kills right at the end of the round. So even that ultimate that is disgusting on a map like this really doesn't find you that much. And now Lobby, one big headshot may just well set Northwood back much, much farther than they'd like to be. Nobody going to show any face quite yet, but Lobby still going to snoop around in the side hall, but looks like they may go back and possibly hit the swap there in a moment or two.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Northwood's definitely taking things a bit more serious. They got Painkiller on the Diva now, which feels definitely more reminiscent of Rialto. As we're going to see the dive onto the Widow. Lep's going to be forced out. They did almost get that. They did force a lot of attention to their Widow there for a minute, so it allowed their team to not be as pressure heavily.
And in the meantime, Splice looking to hop on the cart, at least for NC State. Even if you don't get a massive team fight win, if you can just slowly, incrementally push this cart forward, get it close to the time bonus, and then pull the trigger and explode, you're going to be in a very, very good spot to try to close down this offensive round. But Lep doing Lep things, as we saw them being extremely annoying in the early going, but NC State Red, they are very well aware of Lep's antics, are able to find some chip damage. Everyone slowly but surely building up to these ultis as well. Vega getting closer to Kitsune, and Rocket finally doing a 1 over Oblivion, who seemingly had Northwood's of last round. A good opening pick from the T-Wolves means NC State will be forced on a reset in a few seconds. Oh, Splice is still in the back line, I think.
Yeah, they're still on the high ground here. They're not in the back line, but they're not in the best of position, but they can always drop off a high ground if they feel like they're being pressured too heavily. They're already going to have a catnap in a lot of places to be able to take people off the edge with that.
And with Vega going down, NC State Red, and maybe the ultimate from Lep or Painkiller might be forced out. Lep tries to go see if they can find anybody. They're going to come up empty-handed, though, so no find with the Cat ulti. And that means that space opens up for Lobby and the rest of NC State Red to try to find a few kills. Lep luckily able to put in some decent healing there and try to shut down that Vendetta in the side hall. But NC State, big team fight win. 3 ultis in the back pocket with the overclock online soon, and they are just about already at the time bonus.
Kitsune rushes and are going to be exchanged out. The NC State Red might need to invest a little bit more to guarantee this point.
Oh, Lobby doesn't even need to use the overclock and they find the kill. It's going to be Splice and Bunka popping their ultis. Northwood's able to find a few kills to trade back, but NC State Red winning the fight with ease. The only one left alive after the dust settles is Haven, and they've got no chance at a contest. So NC State, not even a full technically checkpoint, and you will win the map and tie the series.
Yeah, you do say with ease, though. They did pop 3 ultimates to be able to get that, so compared to Northwood's 1. So I would hope you easily win the fight if you throw in 3 ultimates to that fight. But yeah, they are now in a position where they just need to get this to the very end. Again, this second point is known for pretty heavily stalls. It's called the corner of death for a reason. So let's see how they can adjust and try and get this done and force them at 5.
Yeah, myself included, anyone that's played solo queue, this is arguably the worst stretch in Overwatch history to try to push through. Sometimes the corner of death is rightfully named, but NC State Red, corner of death might only be talking about the Northwood players because Vega is down for like the 4th fight in a row as the first kill. Northwood just needs to find a way to keep these players alive a little bit longer. Lep's looking for a catnap, not able to find it. We are going to have a Mauga swap. Haven pop clock and gets diffed instantly by Lobby, and then Oblivion's able to find the Sunder Blade onto Vega, and NC State Red, they are just walking through them.
Yep, and that is all she wrote, folks. To me, Northwood feeling themselves a little too hard, and they get punished for it. Map number 5. Here we come. NC State Red absolutely made them eat it for playing the way they played on that attack.
Yeah, stuffed them in a locker on the offensive side, and give a lot of credit to Lobby. We were calling their name a lot in maps 1 and maps 2, and then the second NC State just needed to have somebody take the ball and call game. The Sojourn was more than willing to step up to the plate and essentially hitting a grand slam. They're getting 4 kills there at the end, shutting down both of the supports and cooking everybody in the process. So very impressive game out of NC State. And Northwood, listen, I know they were having fun, but they know better than that. They're too good of players to keep doing that and thinking they can get away with it. So no excuses for them. You're in game 5 now, and NC State looking very, very good, and momentum now on their side.
Any day, any time is what the old saying is. Any given day, folks. We have ourselves a map 5 on our hands. We're going to take another quick break before we bring you the conclusion of the series. It is tied 2-2, Northwood versus NC State Red. We'll be right back.
I'm cold steel stainless. My glass half full. Always said don't suffer no fools. Serpents, they
wish we stayed the same. I got way too many thoughts in my brain. I got memories that run through my veins. I'm not one to blame, but I could point out every way that you changed. Some things stay up while others go right down the drain. And lately we've been going down in flames. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you.
NC State Northwood game 5 off the back of some Northwood shenanigans, but mess around, find out. NC State takes advantage of the moment. They lock in map 4, and now it's going to be Northwood's choice of where we end up heading off to. With NC State momentum on their side, the wind at their back, we saw Northwood have to make a few subs. Apparently, CJ had to go for one of the scrim blocks, I believe, for the fuel. So Northwood, the pro play coming into affecting the series a little bit, but Esperanza for all the marbles and probably a potential shakeups in the rankings as well.
We'll see. It might, but
slight, maybe.
When there's caveats about that kind of stuff, sometimes it can get a little finicky. So we'll see. But for the side of both these teams, I think Esperanza is going to lend itself extremely well to wanting to play that Domina. NC State's going to ban the team, which is interesting because I just assumed you're going to play Winston. That's kind of what Painkiller was dominating on back on Blizzard World. So, and Esperanza lends itself extremely well to being able to play that Winston. So that's kind of what I expect. And I love nighttime Esperanza. I've only played it a few times, but it's beautiful to me.
No, the day and nighttime maps, just from casting the last few months, honestly, it's not a huge change, but it is very nice on the eyes sometimes to just get something that you get a different color palette slightly. It looks a little bit brighter in some of the maps if it's the daytime version. So I'm certainly here for it. I'm open to it. Northwood's going to lock in the Zarya for Painkiller. Obviously, Winston was banned earlier in the series, so they do have the option to play that if they want. Splice, you knew what they were going to be picking up. Now that the map especially tails to it, the Dominant will be getting brought in. Lobby, Oblivion, two of the picks they've been rocking for most of the series. Lobby bouncing between the Sojourn and the Ash for some of the maps, but Oblivion has had some very bright moments on the Tracer, but you've got 10 minutes, one map a push to see if you can win Game 5 and take the series.
Yeah, I'm surprised Rocket's not going out on the Vendetta for this map, especially with the Zarya. But the Zarya Tracer, is still going to allow your Tracer to be able to be extremely aggressive, but they need to be able to walk down this Domina on this Zarya.
Oh, well,
yep.
You called for it, and Lep immediately able to find the last kill, the final shutdown there after Northwood. They completely agreed. They said, what if we just sprinted at Splice and took them down? And we saw them do it a few times, I believe, in the map 3, where they actually were able to catch Splice out a few times. And now you catch out the entire team. Northwood, yeah, enough might be enough. We saw the fun in map 4. You were even talking to some of the players about, like, my tank got possessed and locked in Roadhog. I didn't know what to do. Now they're looking like they're definitely a lot more locked.
Oh, couldn't agree with you more. The Zarya, I mean, the reason why Zarya is banned often, and she's just a really good pick right now, even with the slight nerfs, still very strong. Again, let's see what Splice is going to be able to do on this Domina. Going to go contest card. Don't know if I'm a huge fan of that, but the huge stun on a Painkiller able to force Suzu out.
Yeah, shout out CJ. That cleanse was massive. Honestly, probably keeps Painkiller alive as we see Lep up to their usual antics. We talked about how good they are on the Lucio and the mobility being one of their strong suits, and just them being a nuisance and a menace to any potential backliners, as we do see them getting up close and personal, able to boot Lobby down to 0 HP, and Northwood looking to continue on to the march here. Painkiller able to find the kill. Splice is 1 HP, 4 down in the blink of an eye. Northwood looking like they are trying to make quick work of this final map.
And just look at CJ. Northwood's been the team kind of rolling here, and CJ, normally, if you're getting rolled, your supports are getting more healing, so you kind of have the advantage there, but nope. CJ very quickly beat Nullix to that ultimate. First point cap coming in for the side of Northwood, so now they get those forward spawns. Oblivion's now gone over to the Vendetta to try to make something happen. But we'll see. They will have the Zar Vendetta, so that's going to be even more dangerous, so Northwood is going to have to adjust.
Yeah, the lucky thing for Northwood is that because they didn't make any switches, they've got the ultimate advantage, which means this fight should be free 99 for them to just run NC State down. The Kitsune Rush is the only thing they need, and they completely dispatch of the entire NC State Red squadron. And again, with those swaps coming through and NC State Red getting essentially 0 damage in that fight, they do have the support ultimates, but Northwood just has the advantage for the next like minute and a half now.
I will say, because of the fact that you mentioned all the switching, for the next like fight or so, they're going to have the advantage. We see Haven going for that override protocol, but trying to shoot people in the sky is not going to go that well for you, but they do get Bunkachunko.
And luckily a big second one at the horn there, so Haven able to get a little bit more value out of the ultimate. NC State Red has at least slowed down the Northwood push, if you want to call it that for the moment. They're able to hop right back on the cart though. Left almost going to get 100-0 by the Echo. Oblivion trying their best, but there's Rocket. Right place, right time, able to find the shutdown, save the teammate. The Graviton Surge is going to force the beat, and Splice should be able to get away to safety, but double support ultimates forced out of NC State. That was a huge burn.
Yeah, unfortunately, they did lose CJ before they got that beat off, but the exchange of getting grabbed for both the support ultimates is massive, and they get Splice off of the field, so this is going to allow them to actually be able to push up a little bit here.
53% to the Primal. Oblivion and Lobby slowly but surely getting their ultis online, but Northwood just pressing the advantages. Not that the swaps necessarily were the nail in the coffin. NC State, if you had to swap better sooner than later, but Northwood just pressing every advantage. Give an inch, they're taking mile and mile and mile, and 111 point meters already. The robot still marching forward. Splice down low again. Northwood is doing an excellent job of cutting down Splice early in these fights.
And already down to like 50 HP. Haven, however, gets taken down. So that's going to be the go sign for Northwood to try and start, for NC State to start pushing their efforts.
Yeah, and they've got to get going. Obviously, a lot of time on the clock. You've got more than half of the game left as far as time, but Northwood is 10 meters away from winning the game just quickly and under NC State's nose almost. They sacrificed about 10 more meters so Lobby can pop the override and take down CJ, which is a very nice kill to find. But NC State right now is forced into a spot where they're having to ult out of the spawn to just take pressure off.
Yeah, 134.8 meters in counting. After him has definitely been reached, so we'll see if NC State can try and push back here. They will have their they're going to have 4 ultimates coming online for NC State Red. So this is the window of opportunity they're going to have with a slight ult advantage to try and get some forward cart progress in their favor.
It is going to put a lot of pressure on NC State. If any of these ultimates are maybe a little bit mishap or misguided, that might be one of your only ways really back into some of these fights, as we do see Oblivion able to replicate onto the Zarya, trying to get that ult charge as high as possible, but Northwood has vacated the area for the most part, so I don't know if they'll be able to actually get it through. Nope, Oblivion, no Graviton Surge for you. Echo back into their true form, and a good catch on the backline potentially, but it looks like Rocket able to maneuver and dash and dive between the crew, and that means Lep can drop the beat, and Northwood gonna take a second advantage on the fight here. The Primal Rage gets invested out of Splice, but they're getting chunked down to 1 HP basically immediately, and the Pulse Bomb's gonna connect, but too much healing and a possible cleanse out of NECC. And now Bunk is gonna send in the beat from NC State, so desperately trying to make heads or tails of the fight, but in the meantime, Haven just gonna take to the skies.
Yeah, and they're going to get 2 essentially with that override protocol. Make that 3 as just a huge ultimate fiesta coming out from both of these teams. But with that beat being able to be forced out, it allowed Haven to be able to take advantage of the then override protocol that can just do so much damage without that beat.
Yeah, Haven has been playing very, very well on the Embry, was getting caught out a little bit earlier in the series, but listen, the damage is no joke. When Haven actually has uptime and they're able to lock in on that override protocol, people are disappearing in rapid numbers, as we do see a few more shots from the burst going in. Northwood able to essentially back NC State all the way back to the goal line yet again, and Haven looking for the full combo onto the Lucio, able to find the kill eventually, but Lobby will be able to trade them back. The cleanse will go through. Painkiller down to about half HP, will get sustained back closer to full as NECC and Bunka down, or NECC almost down. Splice going to be the first one to fall in the second effort from Northwood, and now NECC is in no man's land. No TP, no problem. Northwood, 1 more kill and they might just have the series. There it is.
Yeah, Northwood coming through strong, get CJ back in from the Dallas Fuel scrim block, comes through, locks the Zarya, no more silly hog play, and they absolutely dominate that final map, win the series 3-2, and put themselves at a 3-1 record. As unfortunately for NC State Red, they will fall to 2-2.
Yeah, NC State, listen, that's obviously a tough loss, but you've got nothing to frown over after the series you just played. Obviously, Game 5, listen, these really good teams, we saw the fun in Map 4, then it's let's put our foot down time. We're going to walk away. We're not losing a series to a team we know we're better than, but NC State, besides the Map 5, which obviously they essentially got a shutout pitch, like 144 to maybe 1 meter if they actually ended up getting the push.
It was like 15, 16 meters. They got.
Okay, so yeah, at least they got a little bit, but how well they played the first 4 maps, Splice especially on the Domina early in the series, really, really helping to carry the squad. But Northwood, they made every adjustment they needed to. They basically took Splice out of the game the last map and a half for a lion's share of that last map. So great adjustments out of a really good team. But NC State, they are ranked highly for a reason, and I'm expecting more great things out of them as the year rolls on.
Yeah, huge congrats to both teams, and especially to Northwood, showing why they're the number 2 seed when they have their full roster in. But with that, we're going to take a quick, short break. This time it's actually quick, short. We got about 10 minutes before our next match. But when we come back, it will be the number 6 ranked Fisher Navy going up against CSU Cardinal. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 10 minutes.
Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in the fun. But if I'm honest, I get my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in the fun. But if I'm my therapist is saying that I should. I don't believe it, but I really wish I could. Instead, I guess I'll stay misunderstood. Oh, 'cause I'm stuck now, just trying to figure a way out. I've tried but can't seem to slow down, and I don't know if I want to. But if I'm honest, I get in my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in the fun. But if I'm honest, I get my feels when I want you. Say you feel it too, I'll haunt you. Hold on till I'm lost in the fun. But if I'm I'm stuck.
fight is a world that's mine. Need a place to hide, will you free my mind? Follow the light of a world that's blind. In your eyes I see there's a place for me.
Welcome back, everybody. From the break, we are here to cap off our night NECC Overwatch action with two more schools that have definitely been making some waves in the Overwatch scene. Fisher Navy coming in at 4-0, and Cal State Dominguez Hill sitting at 2-2. And obviously, right, it's technically not the first Fisher roster, the Fisher Esports, but this is still a top 10 ranked team by OWCRA, which you are obviously familiar with. And then CSUDH is actually a team I've covered a lot in Play Versus that they're maybe not one of like the top end teams in college, but they are a very, very just good, solid team that's been playing together for a while. So they might be able to make some noise tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why they're in Division 1. Their support line of Autumn and Lychee, I recognize both of them. They're both extremely talented. But over the side of Fisher, man, I mean, to say this is their backup, I mean, Mari, absolutely insane, goes whenever we have the Calling All Heroes tournaments. Mari's always a staple there. And then Atlas and Snowl are just absolutely really good DPS players. So it's no surprise that they're ranked 6 right now. So CSUDH is going to have quite a battle for them to try and upset them.
Yeah, we talked about punching up earlier, talking from an NC State standpoint. This is going to be punching through the roof and all the way up into space. If you're CSUDH, you're going to have to play a very, very strong series tonight. As I said, I've actually gotten to cover a decent amount of their games going back to last semester, and I've always been pretty impressed, but when it comes to trying to punch up at that top level, they have faltered a few times here and there, even talking about Play Versus in the playoffs last year. Just when they run into the teams that are the ones that are cracking these rankings, they seem to maybe falter here and there, but fresh series, fresh faces, you get a chance to walk in and make some noise and get back in the positive record in the win column, sitting at 2-2 right now, especially in Division 1. If you get off to a 2-3, 2-4 start, playoffs start to look a little bit bleak depending on what the schedule looks like. So Lijiang map 1 and 2 of the new heroes taken away immediately. Domina Vendetta for each side.
Yeah, I was going to say, you said fresh series, fresh ball. I'm like, not so fresh map because this is what we saw last time, but there's no surprises here. The Domina band, no surprises. Again, we talked about well, Domina goes. And then Vendetta on the counter side. I mean, these two heroes are just extremely potent and extremely powerful. So I'm not shocked at all to see both of them banned. As we do see for CSU, they are running up on the Ram comp, which, you know, Ram is a solid pick, but he's definitely, you know, in the tiers is definitely taking a little bit of a tumble. Still not like, you know, a bad pick, but hasn't been necessarily strong. For the side of Fisher Navy, I was curious if they're actually going to roll out on this, and they are going to roll out on the Doom comp, which is going to be a lot of fun. Mari is definitely known as a very talented Doom player, so let's see how this goes into the Ram comp.
Yeah, I'm looking at Pauline and Atlas too. We've got the Cat Widow combo, which we've been seeing, even if it's been for fun for some teams for the first few weeks. If your Widowmaker is hitting headshots, it looks like it is godlike, and we'll see if Fisher Navy is actually able to find that sustained, consistent value on it, or if we do see a swap a little bit later on. But the Venture will be biting the bullet first. Pauline and Mari able to link up and scoop up a kill onto the DPS of CSUDH. And CSUDH actually able to get the first capture with Fisher Navy, just finding that kill and looking to play retake.
Yeah, and Aloka's going to go down, and that was because of a big shot coming in from Atlas. Pauline able to clean up and just make things, you know, nice and easy. Doomfist comp, you know, it took them a minute to get rolling, but once they go, you know, they, you know, let them get their 15%, but now they are large and in charge, and O Projects is now going to go over to that Diva, which I kind of agree with. The Ram is going to have a lot of hard times going after a lot of these characters, so the Diva with the mobility is going to allow you to get after some of these characters a lot easier.
Aloka and Maximus doing a bit of a switcheroo as well. Aloka will be picking up the Cassidy, Maximus switching off the Venture to the Tracer, and I think the Cassidy, same idea with the Doomfist or even the Cat to a lesser degree. If we can land the flashbang, we've got at least a chance to try to win the fight, as Mari able to shut down Maximus with very, very ease, just stand still and left click, and the kill is found, but the cleanse is going to keep Aloka alive, and Mari, nowhere else to go, tries to go in to see if they can find a last-second boop, not able to find it. Atlas, infrared has been activated, information given over. Fisher still in control of the point, and we're going to see if Atlas can get one of these killer headshots. Wow, that's a lovely little surprise to find a Tracer with their back turned to you.
Yeah, Maximus had absolutely no idea they were there, but O Projects able to finish it off. Aloka gets Mari back to the spawn room. And the question to me is, now that they've made all these swaps exactly, with the cast coming in, I would thought they were going to get off the Doom. Mari going to go over to a diva of her own. So, you know, I kind of expected this once they kind of counter cop the Doom.
Yeah, and CSUDH, good job at early capture. We are going to see Snowball trying to get override. Leechy and Aloka both going to fall. Or Leechy falling, Aloka getting killed, I should say, to correct myself. Projects. They're going to go for the Diva Bomb and the Remake. Pirates able to find the kill onto Maximus. Fisher Navy finds the kills that they need. They get an instant point flip. Oh, no. Womp,
yeah, and as
womp.
soon as they make the...
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, who's left?
Yeah, that was unfortunate. I kid you not, I had my glasses off and I was cleaning them for a second while looking at the screen, and then I saw them like, before the cameras come back on. But yeah, that was unfortunate. But I mean, this is kind of what I expected was, Fisher Navy came out, having a little bit of fun playing the Doomfist comp, but when it came down to it, when they like, okay, let's just go cast, the stun really disrupts Mari on that Doom. They were going to swap to the Diva. Mari is extremely flexible on the amount of tanks that she's able to play, so no surprises here that once they started kind of matching them in the comp, that now they're back in control, and it's going to be, once again, an uphill battle for CSU.
Yeah, at least for Seaside, a couple nice team fights, a couple nice moments. I think it's like 50 to 49% before they had the two DCs. So the first round is at least competitive. You've given yourself a chance to win. Like you said, has Fisher kind of made the adjustments and made the reads they need to, take this lead and move on forward? More than likely they have, but we got a little bit more of this first round of control to play out as Pauline and Pirate, ultimates both ready to go. Maximus and Projects and Autumn will be the three tools for CISA to try to make a push.
I'm going to say unfortunate that they lose out on the ult charge for Lychee and Aloka, so that really sets them back in that ult economy and advantage toward Fisher Navy as Atlas gets the final blow on Aloka, but a lot of that was just Mari absolutely blowing things up there.
I think Lychee just got catnapped by Pauline, potentially. I saw somebody fly off the map. I don't know if that was actually what got the kill, but I think it influenced it. And that means Fisher with a DMAC Diva and a few more kills under their belt. CSUDH did get a back cap amongst the chaos, but Fisher Navy able to scoop that up with no issues. And now you've got Mari being a menace in the C-Sud spawn as Fisher at about 85% and counting. A lot of ultimates essentially banked, or they will be soon. C-Sud's got to find a push, and they've got to find it now, but Mari's a little bit deep, and they're going to be forced to use the bomb in the remake.
Totally fine. The question is, do they get themselves out? And they kind of can't afford to pressure Mari for too long because they have to go touch, and they do get the touch, and the beat's going to get forced out early, and now Pirate can re-engage the Kitsune.
Yeah, the beat only connected onto Lychee and Projects, but it looks like CSUDH maybe had enough in the tank to find a few kills, but Mari is free reigning on the opposite Diva. Projects had no chance. Lychee's going to get taken out of the crossfire as well, and CSUDH maybe a last-second touch here, but it is looking more than likely that Fisher Navy will be grabbing round one, and they shall be.
Very well played from both teams. Unfortunately for CSU, with the two DCs, they lost out on two big ultimates they could have had. So I'm not sure if that's super representative of how that possibly could have gone. I mean, it's also possible Fisher Navy still win in dominant fashion like that, but it just sucks to know you lost out on two ultimates that could have possibly swung a fight for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I'd say losing one ultimate sucks. Losing two is like, damn, that might have just been a nail in the coffin because, yeah, to no fault of your own, you just get robbed of big, I mean, potentially a Deadeye and I think a Kitsune Rush. These are not bad. These are very good ultimates that very well could have turned a fight in your favor, but such is life. Fisher able to take advantage of the situation and capitalize on, not the CSUD mistake, just the server issues, I guess. Server having playing its hand there, but 20 seconds to the point unlock. Fisher, if they're able to win the round, will take map one. But CSUD, Maximus on the Symmetra now. That's going to be the only swap, and see if that's able to help CSUD at all.
Guys, they're going to take control of this side room, but, I mean, normally on the Symmetra, what you want to do is take control of points. They're able to use TP to get to point. Now the question is, can they really get themselves set up with support trades coming in? Definitely going to favor CSU as the main heals for Fisher Navy's gone.
Okay, Snowl. The snap tap one shot onto Aloka, courtesy of the assist from Pauline. Projects luckily able to shut down that Widow and punish them after they essentially grappled into the face of the enemy team. Pirate ends up off the map for the side of Fisher as well, so Cal State Dominguez Hills, this might be your point to take over if they can flip it sooner than later. But Pauline and Mari are doing a great job of sustaining on the back line. In the meantime, Cardinal will flip.
I'm a little surprised what happened there. I don't know how Pirate ended up off the map, but this is CSU's best chance, man. Lychee is significantly further ahead in this Kitsune Rush because Pirate got picked early in both of these fights.
Pauline's ultimate, very well going to be a difference maker on this section of the map as well, because the entire map is out of bounds, or about 40% of it, so the catnap could very well be a big tool later on, but in the meantime, Fisher's just losing players left, right, and center. Atlas is in a terrible spot, but the healing from Pauline's actually enough to not only keep Atlas alive, get the kill, and now you can pop the override and possibly cook everybody else on point. Maximus will be able to find the shutdown, but Fisher Navy, they are swinging with everything they have to take over the point, and then they just randomly get 4 kills.
Yeah, sometimes that do happen with a team like Fisher Navy. Is Atlas, who's going to now go over to the Widow Snowell, who swapped over to the Sojourn. We'll see how that plays out. We'll keep an eye on that. But Pauline, catnap available. I've been trying to look to get this possible symmetric, because the Diva, it's tough because you got to get the dip right or the Diva's going to fly out.
Whoa, we're going to go for it anyways because Maximus gets taken out first in the fight, and Pauline taking projects for a dip. That is a perfect execution from Fisher Navy. You're able to shut down the Symmetra. That means Pauline can essentially just ult the next player that shows up in the TP. Free kill onto projects. The only good thing for Cal State, you do have 5 ultimates banked and ready to go, but Fisher is trying to pin you back in the spawn and keep you at bay for longer.
Yeah, I think the real question is for CSU is, you know, just being able to have discipline with your ults. Like, you're gonna need to play a couple to win this fight, but you can't just ult dump and expect to win the map.
Gotta be careful of Pauline trying to work the backline as well. Maximus is gonna pop the ultimate to try to split some of this fight to at least keep people alive, and Pauline eventually getting caught out. Finally, they're gonna catch the cat out overextended, and with 4 other ultimates in the back pocket, I'm thinking CSUDH is looking pretty primed to lock in at least to hold Fisher off from trying to go for an early fight. And Lychee's going to get things going with the Kitsune Rush nice and early as well. And Projects may be able to knock somebody off the map, not able to find it, but Fisher's not able to get an inch of ground yet.
Yeah, they're going to take a lead in the percentage charge, and they still have 3 ultimates to be able to use in this fight. Let's see how they're going to take advantage of that. Fisher Navy can only use a Kitsune Rush here, maybe an Overclock.
Oh, we're going to see. It looks like the Tracer able to TP back on the map. Aloka almost gets taken down, and then it's an early beat drop out of bottom. Mari's going to get D-Mech, does have the Diva Bomb online, so the Diva's got to get remech'd or Fisher's going to be in trouble. Luckily able to just make it back in the suit in time, and then you're able to find the first kill onto Maximus. Fisher Navy hanging on by a thread, but they do find the early fight, but back on. Fisher's got to get to the point now.
They do get to the point, they get the cap. Project's able to get the remake kill on a Pirate, but it's not gonna matter. That's going to be a fight win, and it's gonna be a lot of late staggers. I don't think this is really bad for California State, actually. Now they're gonna have to, you know, get back fast. Man, this is a rough stagger.
That was all-time bad stagger from CSUDH. Fisher, I don't want to say they just won the map because of that, but with the ultimate advantage in their back pocket, now you have the infrared, you have Diva Bomb, and the catnap on Pauline. That stagger may have just won the map 1.
It's definitely possible. They're looking for that TP to get the point, they get the catnap, and the dip into the pond.
And Mari able to get the kill onto Autumn, and Lychee ends up in the ocean. Atlas able to take down some of the util. Maximus finds the trade onto the backline of Fisher, so there's still a small chance for CSUDH, but double disruption kill from Snowell. Looking to call game. It's a triple kill out of this Fisher Sojourn. And I'm thinking that might just be it for CSUDH. Maybe a last second touch 1-by-1. But that is not a very conducive touch to winning. Overtime expires, and by the skin of their teeth in that second round, Fisher will remain victorious.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they're also playing Widow shenanigans. Like,
Yeah.
most teams don't hang on to the Widow for that long. So Fisher Navy is definitely having some fun of their own, just like Northwood was in the previous series. But, you know, they're also able to get map wins when they're having their fun a little bit there. But that's also the difference between playing the 10-ranked team in NC State and playing CSU, who's a very strong and solid team, but they have not been able to crack the top 20 yet.
Yeah, that's why I called them like one of the better like mid-packs teams, which I almost sound, I know mid is like an insulting word nowadays, but there's middle of the pack is not bad in regular sports for anyone that might be thinking, oh, their record is 500, they're not cracking top 20, they must be no good. It's like, no, this is a team that they will test very good teams if they're playing their best. They will beat basically every team that is worse than them. It's just cracking that upper echelon is a whole other adventure they got to try to figure out. Had a lot of nice moments. Projects obviously getting played. The game had a very, very good job of creating some space there on some of the points, but unironically, the Widow actually ended up helping carry the back half of the game. And then we saw the Sojourn pop in a 3 and a 4 piece to call game for the side of Fisher Navy. So a very, very fun and good map one. Fisher got to have their fun, but they still got the dub on the side of it.
Yeah, the question for CSU, I mean, I don't know how much that Domina ban affected things. I mean, but that was also on the side of CSU who banned it. So Mari's also going to have that in her back pocket going forward. Also not sure how much the Vendetta ban affected things. I mean, we kind of saw it in the previous series just how potent Vendetta can be. So I want to see how this series continues to unload with now we're basically Vendetta the rest of the series and what maps, especially for CSU, where they look to take us going forward.
That is always the golden question, is what bans do we look for? I don't even think there's anything to target ban away from Fisher that game, because they definitely were having a little bit of fun. As we said, Cat Widow, it's a novelty. Yes, you can find that very, very funny TikTok highlight play, but you can also get exploited very, very easily. And if somebody is aware of the Cat's presence, you can find a shutdown with some of these nasty hit scans. So Cal State Dominguez Hills, luckily in Overwatch, there are lots of answers to the same question. You don't necessarily have to just play one thing that's going to work. There's obviously going to be counters and things that work better, but the option is definitely there for you to try something out. The map will be very, very interesting. Just, I think they played very well. The DPS played well early, but those staggers, it felt like they were literally getting staggered for the last 3 minutes of that map. They were just headbutting the wall one by one, realizing the round was slipping away and they could never grab it.
Yeah, so to me, I feel like the question of the day is going to be like CSU making these adjustments to try and I mean, they did get the Widow swap off there from Snowell, who had to go over to the Soj because they kept getting taken advantage of, but then Atlas just made the swap onto the Widow, and then Atlas started rolling things. So I think there's just a lot of things up in the air. Again, it's only one map, and that second point was extremely close. Like Fisher was lucky to end up getting that map one on that second point. So just gotta see how things are going to progress as we're still waiting on the map and bans.
Yeah, so hopefully should be coming through in a second, but that is the thing with, even we talked about with Northwood, despite the mini roster mania they put us through in that series, they still walked away. They still won the series when push came to shove. Everybody was in the right roles at the right spot, and they were able to execute on the game plan. Fisher, essentially like Northwood Junior, I'll call it, and even Fisher as a program, right? It's been at the top of many, many titles, multiple teams, 9-10 player rosters that can essentially all get the job done at the same level. You mentioned the Calling All Heroes, the T2 experience, obviously some pro experience throughout the years as well. So they're certainly very adaptable to any situation. So I don't think any ban that comes through is going to have them like surprise Pikachu face where they don't really have an answer. I'm sure somebody's going to say, listen, this tank's banned. What if we role swap and I go play it? Because we saw, yeah, the Atlas Widow swap. I think Atlas actually played better on the Widow and got more kills, which is dumb because we saw Snowell farming in the first round. So it just shows you that multiple heroes are going to be good in multiple players' hands, and they just got that flexibility and that comfort where things are still going to look pretty good, even if it's not on roll.
As you can see below, we do have the next map pick coming in from CSUDH, and it is going to be Suravasa. So another carbon copy of our last series. In the previous one, it was Zarya Vendettas going up against each other for the most part. So, you know, without knowing the bans, that's like my gut feeling is what we can expect to play. But you never know until you see which heroes end up getting banned.
That's the fun part, especially with some of these higher end teams, and it being, I don't want to say early in the season, but they have enough weeks where you drop a map or two here and there because you experimented. It's not going to mean that much. It's not the end of the world. So, right, we have an idea of what we think we're going to see. Fisher might just say, forget all that. We got something cooked up in the drafts that we've been sitting on for a while, but I would expect to see something like the Vendetta, the Zarya. We've obviously seen a lot of good Tracer gameplay today, and there's a bunch of other picks that are going to work well too. So the bans are going to excite me. Fisher, what do you think Cal State Dominguez Hills is going to be best at and try to neutralize? Because banning against a better team like Fisher, not that the ban means nothing, but a ban against a team like CSUD where there's maybe more exploitable weaknesses, I will say, you can maybe target ban a little bit easier. Against Fisher, again, like Northwood, you look at the roster and go, we could ban 30 of these heroes and it'll make sense.
As Fisher Navy is going to ban the D.Va, a little surprising. I thought Mari was doing just fine on the D.Va, but I mean, O Projects was kind of actually going pretty nutty on the D.Va, so I get it. And then the Sojourn ban coming from CSU DH, which again, that's also not surprising. Once Snowell actually got on that hero, kind of farm. Big reason why they actually ended up winning that is because Snowell killed like 3 in that final fight.
Yeah. That's the thing. You ban away the Vendetta, ban away all these new heroes, slam the Sojourn at the end of the map. Guess what? I can still one-shot the entire team, especially a map like Suravasa where Sojourn just fits in beautifully. Lots of places to go slide and reposition. High ground, low ground. Very, very good map in general. So I don't mind that from Cal State Dominguez Hills. Try to just take some of the pressure off that Fisher DPS, and then maybe you'll have an easier time trying to cut down one of the tanks, because it can be hard to play the game when Atlas and Snowell are simply vaporizing you from existence every 10 seconds.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely the case there. So again, my gut says possible Zarya Vendetta compositions from these teams, but I mean, Vendetta was not of it, but Zarya was. But I guess you're not really playing Zarya unless you have the Vendetta. So maybe that's what we should expect to see. I don't think we're going to see Widow from Fisher Navy. Like, yeah, it got its value, but definitely not on Suravasa.
Listen, prove me wrong, Fisher. Cat, Widow, Suravasa, lock it in for the first life. And then when we inevitably get slammed on it, maybe we go for the switch. But let's see if we do have a little bit of fun to get us going, or if it's going to be all business from the Fisher side, as they are up 1-0 in the series. A clean map 1 win, a little bit of a sketchy round 2, but they got the job done. They were able to lock it down when they needed to. And we're going to have an early Mercy from Pauline for now.
Fisher Navy rolling out on the Domina. No surprises here. Makes sense why that was banned on the first map for the side of CSUDH. They are the ones who are locking up the Zarya right now. My guess is that is a TP, and Maximus will be playing the Vendetta or maybe the Tracer, but Zarya definitely makes sense on this map.
We will see if Maximus does opt into the swap. I know they actually have played, we saw them play Symmetra on the first map, and I have seen them play a decent amount of Symmetra just in collegiate in general in the play versus games I covered, so it looks like it might actually stick for now, which CSUD, we'll see if that ends up being something that works off for them. The ultimate can split the fight in 2 basically, which sometimes is necessary against Fisher when they are all raining hell upon you basically. And speaking of, Maximus getting destroyed in the early going by Pirates. Now was able to shut down Oloka, and this is a Fisher capture, folks.
Yeah, I guess when you can't play Soj, just lock the Emery because you got that mobility with your pistol out, and then just the burst fire. Plus, I mean, look at that. Snowell already 45% to the ult. That was absolutely ridiculous. The Mercy is also just silly here.
Snowell does. It is. I was gonna say I didn't know if the Mercy and the Symmetra were gonna stick respectively, but Snowell eventually gets shut down. The beautiful thing about the Mercy, folks, is that you just get to revive that DPS that was already at 50% ult charge, but a TP onto the back of the site from Cal State. Maybe able to catch Fisher off guard if they can find a few kills here. Maury has to get some healing from the squad. O Projects, I know they're a big Ramatra player as well. This is probably the tank I've seen them play the most over the last 4 to 5 months. So Cal State saying, listen, comfort is king. We're going to see if this one works. But Pauline says, other ideas.
And that's what you expect to see out of a team like Fisher, willing to give up a little bit of percentage to win the fight. Mari was getting pressured by the Ram on point, was willing to leave it, get healed, kill the Symmetra, and then come back and re-engage. So one final fight for CSU to try and make something happen. Aloka will have a Dragons. Maybe you get a Kitsune Rush, but they're going to have to be careful. Wouldn't be surprising if we're going to see this Project Override soon.
Yeah, and this Domina is locking them in the spawn. Well, the Symmetra TP unfortunately doesn't go that far. Maximus right into the loving arms of the Override Protocol. Snowell lovingly scooping up a free kill. And Fisher looking a whole lot like the Fisher I expected to see tonight on that first flashpoint. You called it perfectly. The only time that a good team is willing to give space is if they are about to take it back and snatch it out of your hands moments later.
Now they're going to have that Panopticon, they're going to have that Kitsune Rush, they're just going to have a lot at their disposal. Let's see, they already got a Loka.
Yeah, that means this fight is going to be a lot harder to play. The Panopticon's going to get sent in onto the Ramatra, but the Visor able to scoop up 2 easy kills for the side of Fisher Navy, so definitely a heavy investment from the Falcons side, but they're able to get a nice, clean team fight win. They killed everybody before the point. Actually, unlocks, they were too efficient there, but they're able to get the capture nonetheless, and now they can set up that vaunted defense that they've got.
Yeah, but CSU D8, because they got so many ultimates out of Fisher Navy, and because CSU D8...
Ooh. Loka able to shut down Atlas, and now Maximus able to find one back as well. So Cal State Dominguez Hills not going quietly yet. They're able to find a few more kills. The front line able to be established, and they're able to flip the point at 40.
Yeah, for some reason my mic cut out there. Anyway, yeah, that was the thing. They just had so many ultimates. All they needed was their Kitsune Rush and their wall there. So now they continue to hold. They're going to have their Annihilation. They're going to have their beat. They're in a really good spot to possibly take this point from them and tie it up.
And if you're a Loka, knowing that you are very clearly, if not priority target number 1, maybe number 2 on the list, you've got to try to play your life a little bit better. See if you can find one of these killer headshots that'll swing a team fight immediately. Speaking of swinging a team fight, Projects is going to pop the Annihilation on the backside of the beat and try to swing on the entire Fisher squad. And things are going pretty well, at least for now. But as I say that, Snowell doesn't die. They live on 1 HP. Fisher's able to sustain. They've got a late beat drop, only going to go on to 2 players. But I guess they win the team fight, so no harm, no foul.
Yeah, and with just a beat drop, so they're going to have their Override Protocol. They did get the ultimates out of the side of CSU and a huge pick on a Maximus, so the CSU is going to have to completely back out. By the time this next fight takes place, it's basically final fight for both teams.
Yeah, that was an interesting decision. The ultimate was ready to go, but ultimately opting into not doing anything and taking the L to a Loka. We do see Projects getting stunned, able to pop the Override armor. No ultimate ready to go. Aloka is going to send in the Dragon, so Cal State Dominguez Hills, they still need to get the capture. Even though Snowell died, Fisher was able to maintain control of the point, and now look who's back in the flank. Snowell's ready to go. Fisher finds the first few kills. They don't even need to pop any extra ultimates. Mari is going to send the Panopticon in to make sure the job gets done, but 1 ultimate wins Fisher the fight.
So now they get to rotate to the next point. And they're going to have 3 ultimates to combat some of these big ultimates that CSU is coming up on. So they'll be able to match Kitsune Rushes. The wall has been a really key ultimate for CSU. The time to look dominant is when they take advantage of that photon barrier. This is their opportunity. They should have that coming in this fight. And Snowell's been picked early.
Hey, so listen, I called on Aloka to try to play their life a little better and hopefully have a little more impact. In the last 3 fights, they're the ones to draw first blood, so that Cal State backline looking to pull their weight a little bit harder. We are going to see a TP Kitsune rush onto the point. Atlas is maneuvering through the backline, waiting for the team to respawn, and then this tactical visor may very well be devastating to CSUDH if they regroup at the right time and they're able to go undetected in the shadows.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, you do have a photon barrier, so you could use that to protect your team from it. Come on, Maximus, stop trying to invite us mid-game.
You got a team fight to play out. We don't got time for the invites. They're getting visored out of here. Oh no, I guess that's why we saw the invite or the request to join. That is unfortunate. That's the second time this series that Cal State loses either Lychee or I believe it maybe with a Loka in the first, but Fisher, they obviously win a team fight. You can see a bunch of red X's there on the Cal State side. So Fisher will be capturing the point. Unfortunate for Cal State that they're playing really well. I don't know if Maximus ulted before they DC'd. If they didn't, that's going to suck. We're going to have to find out when we get back in a minute, obviously. But Cal State looking good on that point. But Fisher certainly looking like this is their map to win.
Yeah, I mean, they just got to win one more point and they'll be up 2-0 in this series. But I mean, it did cost them quite, it was like two or three ultimates they had to use to be able to gain that point back. I mean, yes, you got, two or three ultimates out of CSU as well, but there's just not going to be a lot of engaged tools for you for the next fight. But unfortunately, they did lose Maximus. So, not sure, as you mentioned, not sure if he had the ult or not, but for sure you're not going to have to deal with that ultimate. Plus, all the ones you already saw get thrown into that fight.
Yeah, I know it was fully charged. So, and even if they used it, it would have expired by now by the time they get back in the game. So, really, really unlucky timing, truthfully, for Cal State Dominguez Hills. But unfortunately, that is the game. That's the nature of playing on an online server. You got to tank aggro sometimes and try to play through it. And even against a team like Fisher, where you need to play perfect as is, it's going to be that much harder to claim the point. They're at least at, I think it's like 50% to 0 on this P3. Fisher is about to get the capture, so they're going to be in position yet again. The ultimates will end up deciding the fight, but Fisher too, sometimes they don't need an ultimate. It's just, what if we killed all of you guys in the same 2 frames and instantly won a team fight?
So again, for CSUDH, as I talked about, I mean, trying to punch up to someone as high as the 6th seed, like, is kind of crazy that, that's how wide ranging Division 1 and NECC is, that you have like the 6th seed and then someone is, probably around like the 24, 25-ish mark, if we did up to 25, somewhere in the middle there, that they're getting matched up against each other, which great opportunity for someone like CSU to get this experience and try and punch up. So, but their backs are definitely against the wall at this point. Fisher has kind of been able to just kind of do whatever they want, play whatever heroes they want. They haven't, I mean, they're playing Soldier Emery. Like,
listen, raw damage is the name of the game. And if you're Fisher saying, listen, we're going to survive longer than you, if we're able to do more damage, we're going to walk away with some clean fight wins. And granted, Snowell maybe gotten caught out 4 or 5 extra times they probably wouldn't have preferred to. I give credit to Aloka for finally kind of getting up there, and they were the ones getting taken out in the first 5-6 fights. It felt like the Hanzo didn't even get the Dragons online until almost all the way through P2. Eventually, you find a few kills, you get your way back into the game at least, get some momentum, get the ball rolling in some form or fashion. Projects has been playing very well on the Ramatra. It is one of their signature picks, but it is Ramatra, so it is going to be very limited. We saw the nice play with the Annihilation and the Beat, but Fisher obviously looks like they've got answers to most of what Cal State Dominguez Hills is doing. So CSUDH just, maybe if Snowell keeps running it down, kill the Emery and then try to work off of that, seemingly not a bad strategy, and hoping that we can get back into game sooner. I don't think we have an update yet, so we're still in the dark, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is definitely extremely unfortunate. Still just waiting on, hopefully Maximus can get in, figure out the internet issues, and then we can get you guys back into this series. But yeah, I mean, we've talked about all we can talk about in this series. I mean, are there any changes? I mean, trying to think, what could CSU do? It's like, I mean, they're playing Emery Soldier, right? So it's like, to me, like, I mean, yeah, Soldier can run away, but I mean, both of those are extremely squishy to possibly be dived upon. So maybe, I mean, Diva is banned though, so you'd have to go like a Winston or a Wrecking Ball. Who knows if they have those capabilities?
Yeah, from my memory, which isn't the best, I don't really think O Project is much of a Winston or a ball player in general. I'm sure every single main tank in Overwatch, you have to play the Winston at some points, but I can't recall too many games, at least from the PCL, of them playing the ball. I know it has been a lot of Ramatra, some Orisa, some Zarya, I think some Junker Queen when the time calls for it. So there is certainly some flexibility in the pool, but that Diva was, I think, Projects, maybe if not their best hero, the Ramatra might be in certain spots, but taking the Diva away from Fisher was honestly a stroke of genius, and it's clearly showing that, listen, Ramatra, this is nice. Being able to dive onto a Soldier 76 on a backline, fly over top, makes the game a lot easier to play, gives more flexibility. So as the series progresses, we will obviously see more bans, but we will go to a short break as the disconnect seems to be looming ever so longer. So we'll let Fisher Navy and Cal State Dominguez Hills get ready, get Suravasa ready to go. It is 2-0 Fisher. Cal State Dominguez Hills has the point, up 50% to 0. And with that, we're going to go to a break. We'll bring everybody more NECC action, hopefully in just a minute or two. See y'all then.
I would climb 1,000 mountains, swim across the dark. to you.
You have habits just like me. Talk too much with strangers. Get way too serious around family. we stumbled over diamonds, and I no longer fear the worst.
Interesting scenario. Because of the DC and how much game had been played, map 2 eventually it's done. Fisher wins map 2, Saravasa technically 3-0, I guess, going off of the points, which means we're going to have to head into map 3 with Cal State Dominguez Hills. Fingers crossed, no server, no connection issues, because nobody ever wants a game to end like that. That is literally the worst way to have a game finish or to have something like that happen in the game. But we're going to go over to Havana, which is a map that I admittedly haven't casted in long time, but maybe Cal State Dominguez Hills has something cooked up in the wings. We are going to see Diva Hanzo as the bans.
Which is interesting because Diva was banned by Fisher on the last map, and now Diva is banned by CSU on the last map. So both teams are just like, nah, Diva, sorry, this is not your time. Given that for either team, I could see combination of different heroes. Winston, Sigma, Domina, those will all be good maps. As we see Fisher Navy, Mari loading up that Domina, we already saw it be extremely potent on Saravasa, as Maximus is going to take the other angle, and they're going to go the SIG. So the SIG has a better, more flexible shield because he can place it wherever he wants and reload it and move it. But the Domina definitely going to have a higher damage output.
And when you got somebody like Mari piloting that hero, we know how potent and how lethal they can be on a myriad of picks. We mentioned the Winston might have got brought out, but ain't nothing wrong with the new flavor. That Domina is certainly strong, especially in a very talented player's hands like that. Fisher, definitely a good look for them. We are going to see Pauline on the Baptiste, Pirate onto the Miramota Lari against Autumn, and then Snowell really been enjoying the Emery. Yeah. Oh, Atlas, that would have been filth.
Yeah, that definitely could have hit its mark on this defense. Mari already throwing down a lot of damage. Aloka on that Emery, looking to try and find some angles. Interesting seeing that oh no, Projects has gone over to the Widow though, with Maximus coming in. They're just basically role swapping, which is very interesting.
I was gonna say it's actually a good call. I was reading the name. Oh, Project's playing the Widow. I said, hold up, that's a Diva Ramantra player for most of the series, but yeah, we are going to see the swap, so definitely an interesting idea out of C-Sud Cardinal, and ultimately not going to pay you off well so far. Mari able to find the shutdown onto the Sigma. Projects did spot out one of the Fisher players around the corner. Oh, I wanted Projects to hit that shot so badly, but unfortunately Pauline with the burst fire able to find the shutdown, but Aloka able to cook up on the backline and catch Atlas out, so C-Sud at least able to find a kill or two here.
Yeah, them getting Atlas is kind of a big deal. It's going to allow them to be able to push up just a little bit. Fisher Navy won't be able to apply maximum amount of pressure on this point. They have to slowly recede toward the newsstand, which it seems like they're starting to do.
Yeah, just got to keep Maximus alive, make sure these supports are on their P's and Q's, because we know Fisher, if they find a target isolated and out of place, they will put you down with very quickness. That's on the shield going up toward the heavens there. Maximus eventually will be able to survive, at least for now, as Fisher battles back in a big way. They find a few kills. They slow down that CSUDH push, as the ultimates will essentially be on for everybody soon.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun fight as Projects gets the better end of Atlas, which is now the go side. There comes Protocol Override.
Yeah, the lamp gets forced out from Pauline, but there's still a few more shots from the Emery to go in, and Aloka making the most of the situation, able to find the shutdown on the Fisher support. Mari's going to send in the Panopticon. Yeah, that was a desperate ulti if I've ever seen one, but then Atlas just takes over.
That was a Panoptijax, I guess is what we're gonna call it.
Yeah, I said that. We'll work on the name, but we got to figure out something for that for sure.
I mean, surprisingly, they're still able to come back and win that fight on the back of Snowell and Atlas, going absolutely sicko mode on those DPS heroes. However, at the same time, Mari has swapped off the Domina, gone over to the SIG, which I kind of like this map. Just having that flexible shield, especially for your double hit scan, is just going to be a little bit better. And Snowell this time is able to send Projects back to the spawn room.
Yeah, the Fisher DPS have completely turned the tides of war. They have gotten the last like 7 kills. We saw the triple headshots in a row, but Maximus finds the shutdown onto Snowell. So again, the Emery just out of there a little bit too far, and now we're going to see the solar flare from Autumn in the window from Pauline. Fisher's going to be forced to use the lamp early, and Autumn able to take to the skies to see if they can find any last-second kills. The Graviton Flux also invested from the side of Cardinal, and they're able to find Pirate in the crossfire, so a very good team fight out of CSUDH is going to send Fisher packing.
Yeah, and with Pauline getting picked there at the end and Snowell, that's going to be the point cap for the side of CSUDH. Was it an expensive fight? Sure, but you had to make sure you secure that first point to try and start going on this reverse sweep and make something happen. As we do now see Fisher Navy trying to get themselves set up on the second point. Atlas trying to find themselves a good little Widow spot.
Well, projects from the Widowmaker to the Junkrat, a slightly different play style, but we're going to see if the value can be found. Obviously, a very well-placed Riptire could turn a fight on its head immediately. Atlas going to throw a shoulder and take some chip damage. Mari able to find the kill onto Aloka, who is now on the Emery, or on the Emery for the last few lives, I should say. Cal State Dominguez Hills, the push will get stalled out. Atlas is finding 3 kills.
I will say with the Junkrat, I mean, yeah, it's a lot of pressure onto the Sigma, but outside of that, everyone else is going to be playing extremely split. It's going to be a little difficult to try and get value out of this Junkrat, but the main goal is to try and blow up this tank, try and blow up Mari and not allow them to make something happen, but the Gravitic Flux was used in that fight.
And obviously Atlas on the Widowmaker, if they can go unchecked for a little while. Mari trying to take on the entire squad, got a few health bars very low. And now you just got Snowell trying to go for the execute off of the high ground, able to find the shutdown onto Autumn. And still just in there with the entire CSUD team. Atlas finds a kill with the sniper. Solar Flare invested from Pirate to make sure the fight gets locked in. And after they get the time bonus, CSUD Cardinal gets nothing else.
Yeah, these captive sons have been very influential in these fights. I mean, as long as you can get it on a bunch of people and get one person who gets, hit by it and just start the chain, it's an incredible ultimate. So we do see Mari on the wrecking ball right now. Always fun to see, but that override protocol is going to find a lot of work.
Yeah, just at the end of it too, Aloka wasn't able to find a kill for the first little while, but the tail end of the ulti proving to be a little more valuable. Oh my goodness, Aloka gets put on a t-shirt in the 180. Atlas snapping and finding the flick, and Mari, credit to them, they were the only one actually contesting the card. They essentially took on 4 players. They were able to survive, and now they're peeling and finding kills. So Fisher, even with CSUD making some good progress, just showing that insane skill level in these moments.
As Maximus is going to get the Flux off, but it's going to cost at his life. Still plenty of ultimates for Fisher to be able to hold here, but with the Sigma down, CSU cannot afford to push here.
Uh-oh. I don't know what happened there, but that is not great. That's even worse now. That's just 30 more seconds gone from the clock. And Fisher, I think they've got players trapped in. They can find a stagger. Maximus is now on the Roadhog, and they were able to find the kill on Tamari. So CSUD right now, they've got a Zenyatta and a Roadhog and a Aloka's on the Widow. They are trying everything to make this work.
Yes, Snowell's override protocol is now going to come out. They do get Atlas in that Widow duel. Didn't even know they were looking at him like that. But Snowell's going to find O projects.
That might be the last gasp for CSUDH. They do have a Kitsune Rush. The Riptire, unfortunately, I don't think they're going to get it ready in time, especially with the Zed getting taken down. Maximus trying to see if they can out-sustain the entire Fisher squad, but the healing juice has been used. Possibly could reset the cooldown, able to find the kill. Maximus letting them know one time for the one-time hit with the Yayata at the end there, but listen, when you're going to lose the round, you got to find some reason to smile. Fisher, plenty of reasons to be smiling. That was a great round of defense.
Literally, it's just like the one time for the one time. I got my kill. I'm happy. Let's celebrate a little bit. Because they knew that was pretty much over there. So, win condition for the series for Fisher Navy. They just got to get just beyond second point. And, yeah, they got to be feeling themselves right now. That was a dominating defense.
And truthfully, really good Widow play from both teams. Aloka was hitting some seriously good shots. I think Projects hit a couple nice shots, and then Atlas literally just making a montage for the last 5 minutes. It felt like they got the massive triple kill to win them over a big team fight, and that disgusting 180 to shut down the Emery at the end there as well. So Fisher certainly showing off that might and that metal, and I'm maybe one of the biggest Reinhardt enjoyers on the planet, so if Murray sticks on this, I am loving life.
They're definitely having their fun. It won't surprise me if they definitely stick on this. They don't really have the tools to allow Mari to get the full extent out of the Reinhardt. That's what they're going to do. But, I mean, they got some time to have some fun.
We're having a Fisher dance party there in the back spot. Or yeah, Fisher party there. See Snowell and the rest of the crew. Always good that everybody's having a good time. But the Mercy will be swapped. Oh, Atlas. Look at the combination. We do see Lychee and Aloka going for the Cat Widow play. But Atlas is going to win the 1v1 again. Fisher Widow is just diffing them. They are able to find the res onto the Widow, but that means Autumn has to give their life to find said res. And in the meantime, Snowell's going to find the kill onto Atlas. Aloka able to trade one back, but it looks like Fisher's got the edge.
Yeah, these teams are just having fun. Literally, Snowell could have dodged those mines, gonna get res. I was literally watching Cat Mercy there for a minute before Autumn has now swapped over to the Kiriko. We're just now going to see people getting on point for the side of Fisher Navy.
The Cat Mercy Widow might be my new favorite conga line in anything at all. It just looks very goofy, obviously, up in the sky. Maximus, nowhere to go, no options. The Battle Mercy. Pauline's having a lot of fun in this game right now. I would be too if I was making plays happen like that. Atlas is locking down these short corner angles. Lychee will find the res onto Aloka as we do see Mari charging into the front line, and this is where Reinhardt thrives. It's a small area like this where there is no way to get through him.
Not even swinging, just holding up a shield. Gonna get rocked though. I'm surprised that that pin didn't actually register there. As we see them trying to now, bust down this Rhine shield to make something happen.
Trying to go Tokyo drifting to see if they can catch that perfect angle. The fire strike's gonna land. Autumn's gonna have to TP away, and that means the Kiriko has to fall back. There's no supports to play the rest of the fight. Mari's playing one game and the rest of Fisher's playing another, but they're both winning simultaneously, so the split fight is looking so good for the side of Fisher Navy. We do see a few kills go back and forth to the side of Cal State Dominguez Hills, but Fisher gets the time bonus, and now they've got a lot of time to make a play. Who body blocked my Reinhardt? Who did it? Mari has been like the pacifist Reinhardt most of the game, where they're just standing there with the shield, not worried, unbothered, unfocused, staying in their own lane, just pure vibes on the server. And then you fly in and you pin the Junkrat, which is an excellent feeling. I like the Optimus Prime skin as well. So rolling out and taking over the server. Atlas is still winning Widow 1v1s because of course they are. The infrared sight is online. Fisher Navy's got a solar flare, a shatter. Pauline's ulti's ready to go. One more kill, maybe two, and they're going to have the game. But Maximus finds a freebie on the Snowell. And here comes the Rip Tire for two. So 3 meters left. Cal State Dominguez Hills not ready to say die.
They still have their Valk and their Solar Flare, and that's going to be all she wrote. Fisher Navy takes the map, takes the series in a 3-0 fashion.
Oh, nothing like Pauline just walking up and getting a 2-piece on the Mercy to end the map and end the series. That's gotta feel good. Snowell gonna get played the game, get a little extra credit for themselves there, but a clean game nonetheless out of Fisher. Exactly what we expected. Always fun when the teams are willing to stretch the legs and let us have a little bit of fun with the picks as well. But yeah, that entire last map, once Cal State didn't have the best offensive round, Fisher was like, okay, Atlas, get us a couple picks. We will send it to the back line, and we will win this series.
But yeah, I mean, Fisher Navy showed why they are the number 6 ranked team right now. They looked extremely impressive, and that's just kind of how it blows sometimes. CSU DH, I still think they're a very good team, but they kind of just ran into a buzzsaw today.
And listen, games like this, you can lose and you can mope and be sad, or you can get in the lab, watch the VOD and say, okay, what did they do to counter us? What bans did they use in the series that ended up maybe taking us away from having our best showing on one of these maps? So you get to at least look back, and against these really good teams, Now, I'm not sure how much you're going to learn watching like Cat Widow VOD replay from some of the stuff Fisher was doing, or even like the Roadhog earlier, or some of these other things, but there is still a lot to learn, especially against these really good teams when you're firing on all cylinders. So, CSUD, you still got lots of season left. You still have a record good enough to get you in a push for the playoffs. You ran into a buzzsaw today. You had a decent showing, but that is why Fisher is ranked so high, like you were talking about, and like you helped rank them. Very, very talented. They are clearly one of the best teams we have in college, and they took care of business today just like we thought.
But yeah, congratulations to Fisher Navy once again for getting the W. With that, that's going to be pretty much it for us. Huge shout outs to all the teams who played on stream today. Huge shout outs to Joman for casting with me. And huge shout outs to Reach and Chippy for doing the prod behind the scenes. We couldn't do what we do if it wasn't for you guys. And huge shout outs for Orange, who was ready on the ready. If we needed them, we will see you guys next time at the next broadcast, and we look forward to it. See you guys later.